All right, y'all. Welcome to All Politics are Local, America's number
Number
one
one.
political hip hop radio talk show. Y'all know if it's Friday, y'all know it's time for All Politics are Local. But more importantly, y'all know if it is the fourth Friday, you know it's time for the disciples. Of course, with the beloved, none other than the super councilwoman at large herself, Reverend Rountree, and then, of course, our beloved Brother Minister Abdul Haqq Muhammad, and then the Queen, the First Lady, Balena Ali. So they're going to be up first in the show tonight, the disciples, and then Zaid. What we got coming up after them at 7 o'clock?
So we got a lot. Part two of Remembering Denise Oliver, the Young Lords, with none other than Felipe Luciano.
Oh wow, my
Uh,
brother.
yes, sir. And after that, a Pan African conversation from a Haitian lens from Queen Mother Dowoti Desir and Dr. Marie Lemy, two strong Pan African queens. In fact, Dowoti, I can go on for days about her because we go back some years, right? And behind that, our councilwoman from the Central Ward, Amina Bey, returns.
Oh yeah,
We have a very serious affair that's going to happen honoring the great Frederica Bey on
yep.
August 31st. So she will give us that and other important updates for the mighty Central Ward.
That's well deserved, brother.
Yes,
Well,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah,
Yes, sir. So we got a lot to talk about.
yes,
That's
sir.
right.
Here we go. All right, so we got the one of the queens rocking tonight for the disciples, none other than our beloved councilwoman at large, Reverend Rountree, the hardest working councilwoman in the council business. What's good, Rountree?
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, Ed Raleigh, Baba Zaid, and of course, we got a phenomenal, definitely not no guest on no show because the city, the state, the county, the
That's
country, and
right.
the world are very familiar with Brother Lawrence Ham. Of course, I pay homage to my co-host, Minister Abdul Haqq Muhammad and Lady Balena Ali, and we welcome you to all politics on local America's #1 hip hop. Come on,
Uh-oh.
radio, Facebook. Don't get me excited. I'm not new to
Oh,
this
we want you
godmother king
excited. Go ahead and
territory.
get
Yeah,
excited.
listen. I can listen. I have to say this because the person who introduced me to radio, her name is Catherine V. Taylor, as known
Mm.
as Kitty, and she is brother Larry Adibu Ham was very familiar with Kitty because he used to be on her radio show all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's going
Yeah, she was.
back.
Oh yeah, she was. WNJR was on and popping. It
WNJR,
was lit at
1430
the time.
AM.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, 4338. And her program was Seniors in Action, intergenerational radio program. Let your golden years be your best. Remember all of that, Larry? Yeah.
That's right. I remember.
So that was my introduction at 8 years old to radio. And then there's a young woman
Wow.
um, I used to come on at 10 o'clock at night named Bernice Bass. Uh, and
Rountree,
Brother Ham's very
Rountree,
familiar. They
Rountree. Did you just say 8 years old?
I was 8 years old when Kitty used to
Wow,
take me to the radio station.
wow.
They were on Union Avenue one time, and
Remember that.
Union. Then of course she used to take the show on the road. We did it at Scott's Manor, and one time we were recording at New Community. Well, I wasn't 8 then; I was like past 18. By the time they moved down to Raymond Boulevard in that big, tall, round building with someone that don't look like us bought the radio station, but the people fought so bad to keep Kitty on, he had to keep that on as long as he could, um, because he was changing the trajectory of what WNJR was going to be. But the seniors, I mean, I tell you, senior population have a voice. And we could learn a little something from them because when they wanted something then, you didn't have to worry about who was going to be on the front lines, right, Brother Ham?
That's
They was
right.
coming, they was coming for you, with you, or to get what needed to be accomplished. So we're excited about all politics are local. I did do a program that I've started, and I took it from Bernice Bass, News and Views on Faith and Community, and I give her credit for it because I gather if we had a channel 78 when she was doing it, she'd have been on television. her, her and Kitty Taylor. But now we have
She muted herself. Rountree, you muted
and
yourself.
individuals like Baba Zaid and no, I was actually going under a bridge, so I probably lost connection for a minute. Can you guys hear me?
We hear you now. Yes, ma'am.
Are you okay? Great. Yeah, I went under a bridge and lost connection. Here we are, Brother Ham. We've been on the road around places with no.
That's right. Let me tell you, Reverend Rountree.
It's great.
Is she in? Is she on?
She's struggling. She's say go ahead and talk, Demi.
I'm on.
Okay.
I was just gonna say.
Talk. I hear you.
We've been in places with no online reception, but I'm gonna tell you, I've been in churches that did not have a piano. I've been in churches that did not have a telephone. Yeah, I know that's hard to believe, but 1987, I was at a little church in Chickasha, Alabama. And it was a one-room church.
My Lord.
No piano. The people sang a cappella. But I tell you, if there's any time I almost got the Holy Ghost, Ed, it was there in that church. I never felt the intensity of worship that I felt in that little wooden church down there in Chickasha. It was a super spiritual experience for me, and it was much overwhelming. It was overwhelming for me. It was in Alabama, in the Black Belt of Alabama.
Okay.
Chickasha was near another town called Utah, Alabama, spelled with an E, E-U-T-A-W, Utah, Alabama.
Wow.
And I'm gonna tell you, the choir started singing, and Rountree, Reverend Rountree, the people kept time with their feet. Like the whole church was keeping time by stamping on the floor with their feet. They have a name for that.
We got that right here in Newark.
Do we?
We got that right here in Newark. Yes,
Where?
we do. On Central Avenue. And I think it's 12th Street. There's a little church there. What happened was my father, you remember Robert Banks?
No.
Not Jeff Banks. Robert.
No.
Okay, so Robert Banks was an
piano player, Robert Banks?
Worked with piano. Huh?
The piano player, Robert Banks?
Yeah, piano playing Robert Banks. He wasn't related to Jeff or Charles. Jeff was Revival Temple, Charles was Greater Harvest, and they had the back home choir. Plus, they did some recordings with my cousin, Lawrence Roberts, and on Savoy Records, they were recording artists, but Robert was not related to them. Robert was an accomplished professor in his own right. As a matter of fact, Robert recorded in 1960 a record with my mom with the original Good Neighbor Cathedral choir. A woman named Ophelia Sherman was on one side, and Clara Terry was on the other. Clara Scott Terry was on the other. When you start talking about churches without musicians, I got to get the name of the church because his wife was a member. So one day we had something, and this choir came to Symphony Hall to sing on this program. And I said, where are your musicians? And they said, we don't have any. And they got up there with these little blue shirts and pleated skirts. And the guy had a stick. The lead to the choir, they still here, had the lead to the choir, had a stick. And when I tell you, when I went to visit their church with my father, this wasn't even 20 years, but even 15 years ago. And I went to a funeral there within the last 9 years. When they was hitting the floor and marching to their songs that was their music. It is still here today. They do not believe in musicians. They don't have no organ. They don't have no drums. But you will feel the Spirit of God. And before we get off this show, this program, or even after, I'm going to send you the name of the church right on Central Avenue, and right on the corner, one of the number blocks. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Once upon a time, that's all we had was our feet.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I had never been in a church that didn't have a piano, didn't have an organ. The people did have tambourines. They did have tambourines, but that was it. And I came, the earliest church I was at, well, I was at Mount Calvary because that's where my grandmother and her aunt went. You know Mount Calvary on Hawthorne and Seymour? Yes.
But that wasn't
Let
the
me tell
original
you,
Mount Calvary.
I know my grandmother and her sister Joan were with Maxson when he had a storefront church on Prince
Senior
Street.
Maxson. That was my mother's friend. Yes.
And he Maxson, Senior Maxson, eulogized Joan. I think he eulogized everybody except Gladys. But he eulogized Stella and Joan. He did just Stella and Joan because they were members of his church. And and I remember when they started building, because Mount Calvary was built from the ground up. The one on Hawthorne and Seymour.
I know that. I'm telling you, here, my mother started her school in 1946. So,
wow.
What? Hold on 1 second.
1946.
That's a long time ago.
We got chicken and everything coming in.
Yeah.
Whole spirit. So 1946, she started. Her first graduating class was at Clinton Memorial AME because when she came up from down south, that's where she joined. And then she met, I guess, Reverend Maxson on Prince Street. And when he built the church, or I don't know what church they were at, I don't know where the graduation class was, but I do know that her second graduating class in 47 was held at Mount Calvary. Yes, she was friends with Reverend Maxson until he went to Florida and until he transitioned. Yes, my mother was he transitioned after my mom, but they were very, very, very good friends. Back then, the faith community connected, especially with African-American entrepreneurs, because they needed to build their business. And where else were they going to build it? Other than using the individuals that already had a flock. Or had a body of people that they could. So Dr. Vernon, when he came to Newark, his parents told him go see go see Madam Scott, because Madam Scott had students. Madam Scott had students, so maybe you can get some of them students for your practice. Dr. Edward Vernon. Then when he opened his office on South 8th Street, my mother used to go and she would give him her business.
Isn't that something?
And then he started pastoring in St. James. So a lot of things come full circle. There's so much history.
Oh,
here
you telling the truth.
Newark, New Jersey.
That's interesting, Rountree. One of the viewers said that style of church is a Geechee culture. You ever heard that before?
Yes, Gullah Geechee. Yes.
Yeah.
Joe Frazier was Geechee.
My grandfather.
You see, Queen Mother, welcome. Queen Mother Maku is watching us. Now that's a whole nother culture, a culture that we should talk more about. If anybody knows Queen Mother Maku, we don't even, you know what? I love it when she comes to our interfaith meetings because she gives the true history and the culture of what real religion,
where it all comes from.
Where it all comes, the root of it. Like we walking around here, I was saying in Vacation Bible School last night that we all created all of these different religions and movements because we didn't agree. Now, I sure don't agree, and we surely talked about this, how the master turned the biblical narrative around to try to paint this activist named Jesus as a white-haired, blonde-haired, blue-eyed young man. And then all of the scriptures didn't pertain to us, that whether it was master, he was the master. Down there in South Carolina and North Carolina, he was the master, and the man with the blonde hair and the blue eyes told us what honey, if they was following the Bible, they would have not believed nothing this man they was calling master said. And if they were able to read, until they were able to read, they still couldn't identify with bronze skin and hair like wool. I mean, that is so. Whoever was telling that story was telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
We just turned it around into a lie or into what we wanted it to be. So I tell folks, hi, Kimberly, how are you, sweetheart? Thank you for joining us tonight. I don't have a problem. We have an interim pastor at Good Neighbor Baptist Church. His name is Jerry Michael Sanders. Retired from 40 Fountain Baptist Church in Summit, but he's now serving for us in between, betwixt and between of us finding our new Joshua. And he preached his last sermon as president of the General Baptist Convention a couple of years ago. And I took the mayor, Larry. And his sermon was, let me tell you about a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus. And when he finished, everybody in the church had to know that this man was an activist, this man was black, and that he was not a punk. Okay? So it's all about being knowledgeable and understanding that none of us were here 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years from now, somebody's going to be telling our story, Brother Ed.
Yeah.
And watch what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to tell, somebody going to tell it, like Larry going to tell it, I'm going to tell it, Baba going to tell it. We all going to tell your story because we all spend time with you.
Yeah.
Talking about the Synoptic Gospels now. There's 4.
Yeah.
They all tell different accounts of Jesus, but they all spend time. So the same stories told differently from their perspective.
Yeah. But that thing will preach itself. You know what I mean?
Oh, I already know.
You get the right man of God, like Larry just said, when the Holy Spirit hits you, you get the right man of God.
Man.
Start talking about that hair like lamb's wool. That thing will preach itself, right?
I wish I had recorded, and I know it's
Jesus
somewhere.
was never in
I
Europe.
know it. I told Reverend Sanders, you got to preach that before you leave Good Neighbor, before we get our new pastor, because people need to start identifying themselves spiritually with the foundation. When you talk about Richard Allen only founded the AME Church, him and his partner, because they wouldn't let us do what, Larry? You know, we had, they didn't want to follow the teachings of the white, the blonde haired, the blue eyed.
Right.
Like our skin wasn't that. They understood that, man.
Y'all
That's
know,
right. That's
y'all
right.
know what Mr. Malcolm said, though, right? He said, if somebody gives you a God and that God doesn't look like you give them that God back.
Rountree, do you remember a church on what is now Irvin Turner Boulevard, Belmont Avenue, Central Presbyterian Church?
Yes,
Is it
it's there
still
now.
there?
Yes, it is. And it's just been reopened by a group of individuals that bought it, of different cultures. But I remember as a matter of fact, the pastor there was the pastor that was very active in the movement. Look, you could tell the story because I was a little younger
pastor's
than
name was Reverend Henry Cade.
But Casey, I know.
And it was his
Trying
church.
to find him. We were trying to find him for something because he was still living then. Perry Simmons was very good friend, knew him.
Yes,
and we were trying to find him.
It was in his church where I saw Black Jesus for the first time.
Wow.
Was in Reverend Henry Cade's church. I had never seen a black. This was in 1971. I had never seen the Black Jesus.
He spelled his name Cage,
Cade, C-A-D-E. Reverend Henry Cade. He was and he was an ally of Amiri Baraka. That's how I came to him, because he was letting Baraka's people have meetings and rallies at his church.
Wow.
You know, Reverend Cade. And
he also was when Dr. King came. But aside from Dr. King, there's something else that he had done, because we were putting together something. I don't know if it was with you, Larry, or someone, and they were like, if we could get him to come to Newark to represent. This is because he was still living. He was much older.
And Reverend Cade was the first one to tell me about Black liberation theology. And he was the first one. I mean, he preached on it in his sermon. He was the first one that ever told me about Reverend James Cone.
Oh yeah.
And I think Cone wrote that book.
He did.
The crucifix,
Because you got a whole list.
He did a decent book on Malcolm and Martin too.
You said he did a book on that?
James Cone,
Yes.
yes. Demon froze. Demon, you froze. Go out and come back.
Am I
in.
back?
No,
Yeah,
you
You're back.
Am I back?
Yeah.
I'm back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Rountree, let me shut up, but let me ask you this before I shut up.
No, don't shut
Do you
up.
remember Way of the Cross Pentecostal
Yes.
Church?
Yes.
You know, I went to that church. I went to that church.
You did.
Yes, Elder Harris. That church is where that church is where Camden Street School is now. They tore down that whole block. But before they tore down that block, and that was a Pentecostal church. And that's why I said, even in Way of the Cross, they had a church. I mean, they had a piano and an organ. When I went down there to Chickashaw to that church, I was astounded. But like I said, I never saw the intensity of worship the way I saw when I was down there in Alabama, when I was in the Black Belt down there.
But you know, Larry, the thing is that when God is present, right, you don't really need music. You know what I mean? When the Holy Spirit is present, you don't really need music. You know? Remember, black folk can just start humming. You know what I mean? And that humming, you know, my grandmother used to hum. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. I was a child. I didn't know what the Holy Spirit was.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandmother could just start humming, and before you know it, man, it seemed like there would just be this incredible spirit in the room. And man, they get to praising and hollering and screaming and you know, and it's funny because I heard this old preacher told me one time, he said that I forget where I was, but he said Jesus don't visit every church. He said, but when he does, you'll know.
So let me explain something to you about that. After I tell y'all, go get the book, Black Theology of Liberation, and he wrote another book about Black theology. James Cone about Black theology, because when I was in seminary, a lot of books we were required to read, and he wrote a book on Black theology and Black power. I mean, he wrote some stuff. I mean, he wrote some serious books, because like, what is theology? So when you start having these conversations about God and who God is, we have to be very, very careful of our conversations. Those seminarians have a different conversation than preachers that have never been to a church. I mean, never been to a seminary, or because back in let me say this, during the slave season, there were no seminaries.
That's right.
Okay,
right.
So you can't and I'm gonna tell you, you can't take away the preaching and the teaching of those. What seminary helps us do is learn the historical concepts, circumstances, even what took place behind the scenes, because there is no way that you can write a novel or a narrative or any type of literature on something that happened all those thousands of years ago and just have 66 books in the Bible.
Right.
So that's what seminaries and people have now done research. That's why they finding scribes and digging. You had people that for years went to look for Jesus's grave. Okay, the Ark. There are people that have dedicated their life, archaeologists, to try to get to the bottom of what we're reading. So I'm very careful about discussions about religion, because somebody's telling the story about something that we weren't even there for. But we have to trust and believe that it was inspired by God. So you can't turn it around. But somewhere along the line, there were slaves that Pharaoh was warned that he better let go. Mm-hmm. So slaves didn't just come 400 years ago. Slaves that we talk about, that we supposedly use this narrative of we were set free. And then Lincoln didn't free the slaves freed Lincoln. I'm just saying. No, look, we don't went all sideways.
No,
But
listen,
it's a
but
good conversation. It's a good conversation because people that are tuned in, and this is why I'm going to be excited about doing this live, because I'm thinking that if we do this live and not just in a studio, that at some point going forward before the year ends, that we will bring audiences in to
yeah,
hear the discussions that we're talking about, that we
yes,
will invite 25 or 30, send out an invitation for people
yes,
to join based on what the topic is.
yeah,
Uh, Larry Ham can do a 2-hour show all by himself, just
yeah,
on the historical perspective, just history.
yeah.
Just history. First person ever came to our church and spoke for an hour and a half, and nobody was looking at their watch.
But
First,
but
first
but
in the
listen,
history of the church, which is 50 some odd years old.
yeah, but Rountree, I'm telling you right now, this is a good conversation in and of itself about black
Mm-hmm,
churches in the city of Newark. I remember as a
mm-hmm.
child on a Sunday morning in Newark. I remember as a child, Larry, you're a little older than me, but I can remember, man. Let me tell you something. The spirit in the city of Newark was buzzing. You couldn't walk a block without a church in the city of Newark. I mean, we had a lot of
That didn't
churches,
change.
you know.
That hasn't changed.
Yeah,
That that has not changed, sir.
you could walk down South Orange Avenue and man, you'd hear the music, from one block to the next block. And the only time you didn't hear the church and the music was when you got to the mosque number 25. And then up on the corner, it was still a church buzzing right there on the corner, you know. So I mean, you had that. I mean, that was busy in the city of Newark. Even on the side streets, we had churches.
So the problem with that now is, I guess you haven't taken a ride through Newark and looked in the blocks where they have the little storefronts. The problem I have now, and I'm dealing with the Newark Interfaith Alliance, and
I know you
some
know
of the
Roundtree.
yes, some of the pastors would not even know each other if it
Wow.
weren't for the Newark Interfaith Alliance, and they're on the same block. When I started the meetings about 14 years ago and founded this alliance, as I was the manager of clergy affairs for the mayor, the truth Mayor Baraka, who created that particular office, a manager of clergy affairs, to unite the faith-based community. What I found out in this meeting, when I had people introduce themselves, and I look at the sign-in sheet, and I'd be like, they're right next door to each other. They're like, there's a bodega separating them. Do they even know each other? And what's so crazy about that is that oh, somebody just said something to you, Larry. Thank you, Larry, for all your amazing work over the years. Power to the people. so
Power to the
so
people. Thank
yeah,
you.
so I tell them, you guys, good evening, Douglas Freeman. How are you, dear? Thank you for joining us. This is the real issue. How can I live next door to you? Because years ago, neighbors looked out for neighbors, which is where I guess the neighborhood came from. I don't know where that hood came from, but neighbors looked out. Every time I hear hood, I think different. But anyway, let's go. If it ain't the hood of my car, I think another hood. But anyway, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing how now you can walk out your church, get in your car, don't even look at the people down the street. That, let me see, is there someone down here? There have been relationships that have come together with pastors that might have been right around the corner and didn't know. Oh, you right around the corner? And this is good now. What the other problem is, some people only have 5 members apiece,
Yeah, yeah, that's
10
right.
members apiece. But the problem now is leadership and power.
Yeah,
I'm not giving up the church I started. It maybe had 100, but now all I got is 4.
yeah,
Okay. you know so we as a people, not just in the community, even in the church, because of their labor, because it's something they started, can't
mhm,
come together to build something with the group, as opposed to, this is mine,
yeah. They don't.
and
They,
I'm
they
not
don't.
going
They
and
don't
I'm
want to
not
give up
coming
that.
over there with Larry.
Give up that title. They don't want to give up that title as pastor,
Listen,
as
but they can
leader.
keep,
You know,
but what they don't understand is, it's not about the title, it's about the people.
of
that
course,
that's where the that's where the issue comes in. And
of course.
sometimes they can't, folks, and that's everywhere. That's not just in the church, that's everywhere. I've been telling people, Larry, that we are the only, and I won't say all of us, but the only group that really doesn't plan for succession.
Mm.
That's mouthful.
And if so, if we prepared for succession, we wouldn't end up fighting our way through. Oh my God, what do we get? Oh my God, what do we choose? Oh my God. Some people come in because it's so easy to slide to succeed.
Hey,
So,
Rountree, somebody says you're a phenomenal councilwoman.
oh,
The real
thank
deal.
you. Oh, thank you, sweetie. Lord, yeah, but it's so. Oh, hey, Kimberly, thank you guys. Yeah, but it's really important that at some point we as a people, and that's why I always bring up the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, to our co-host Minister Haqq Muhammad, and Lady Ali, who stands in for her husband, Pastor Ali. I bring them up for a reason. I bring up Dr. King for a reason. Because even though we know it wasn't his original idea for the March on Washington, we know who the people were, Larry Ham, that spoke to that and spoke that into existence. But the truth is, it happened. And he was the face of it. And Minister Farrakhan was the face of the Million Man March. Oh, that was his idea, I'm sure, with the brethren. But the truth is, nobody cared that it was him in front of it at some point. The
Right.
movement became a reality, and they didn't care whether they was on the mic or sitting on the curb 5 blocks away.
Yep.
The movement happened because of the mindset and the spirit of what was taking place. We talk a good game.
Yeah.
We speak about what we don't like. We talk about what's going on in Washington, but we would never have done a January 6th, but we can't even do a 1963. Okay, let me just stop right there.
When you're on the radio, you can't stop.
But do you hear me, Baba?
But haven't said that? Let
Well,
me say
on that note, Rountree, take us to why you brought me here today.
Well, wait a minute. There's a
Okay,
couple
go
other
ahead.
things. The men's meeting is taking place right now. For those of you who are not aware of what the men do every 4th Friday of the month. And I got to announce it now because somebody might want to build a house. Somebody might want to be a partner. Somebody might want to know what's going on. There might be some brother there that's like me that's tuned in that can take the radio show right on into the men's meeting with you and put the earbud in your ear. And in the other ear, listen to what's available to you. But the reason why we have the wonderful, phenomenal Larry Ham here is because he has been, as we know, an activist on many fronts, not just the injustices that are done, not just the unlawful shootings that are done, and not lives that have been taken unjustly, but he is on every forefront for justice on every level, for us not to walk backwards with our face looking forward. So I called on him to be our guest tonight, and he's not a guest to All Politics Local. He's really part of our family, but he's so knowledgeable about so many things. And this season, voting rights is our portion. And he's been hosting meetings and inviting elected officials. The mayor has spoken. He's been in Montclair. Because this is the world thing. This isn't no city of Newark situation. It so happens that the mayor on August 6th is spearheading along with Larry and Salvation Social Justice, and many other organizations are coming together for a particular event that will be taking place on August 6th. But I want to press rewind on Larry and have him go from where it started with you in your mind to be a part of every week. You have something coming up on July 29th. July 29th.
Right.
And so,
Right.
we could talk about that. We could talk about August 6th, but I want you to talk about why, the why, and the what. So the
Right.
what comes first, and then the why.
Okay. Well, the what is on Wednesday, July 29th, 7:00 p.m. We're inviting everyone who can see and hear this program to St. James AME Church, 588 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Newark, New Jersey. We're going to have a special forum entitled The Attack on Voting Rights and the War on Black People. That will be this Wednesday, July 29th, 7 p.m., St. James AME Church, right there on the corner of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Court Street, 588 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Newark, New Jersey. We're asking that the whole community to come out so that we can discuss and plan with regard to this issue, the relentless attack that has been taking place really on Black people. It didn't start in 2026, 2025. This unrelenting attack is probably now going on for a decade. The rollback of voting rights as a result of Supreme Court cases, the rollback of affirmative action, the rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion, the attempt to erase Black history, the attack on the Black economy, the doubling of the Black unemployment rate. Literally in the last 18 months, some 350,000 Black women have lost their jobs. 500,000 Black men have lost their jobs as a result, of course, of the economy, but the economy is sagging because of the policies emanating from the White House and the occupant of that White House, the narcissistic Caesar, Donald Trump. And the rise in police brutality, the rise in racially motivated violence, the worsening of conditions, health conditions in the Black community. Many people don't know, most people know we have a Black infant mortality rate that's twice the white infant mortality rate, but the maternal mortality rate among Black women is 3 to 4 times that of white women. We have a maternal mortality is when mothers die in childbirth. The rate of maternal mortality in our urban areas is higher than the maternal mortality rate of some countries in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. This is the richest country in the world. That the lifespan of people in this country is actually declining. It's not increasing for the first time in history. It's actually declining. The gulf, I mean, you can't say the gap anymore. You have to say the gulf or the chasm between the wealth and income of white families and the wealth and income of Black families is wider than it has ever been. Like white families literally have 10 times the wealth of Black families, have 6 times the income of Black families on average. So this worsening of conditions, is not theory. It's not hyperbole. It's real. As a result of a very recent Supreme Court case, Louisiana versus Calais, the Supreme Court has now ruled that states can engage in racial gerrymandering, that racial gerrymandering is now legal. Literally before this case, it was illegal. So in this year, we have about nearly 60 Black congressional representatives now. As a result of that one Supreme Court case, which took place, I believe, at the end of May, beginning of June, we could lose as many as 19 Congress people. And if it wasn't so, it would be almost funny. Literally, the day that the Supreme Court announced this decision in Louisiana versus Calais, the state of Mississippi went into court to redraw the congressional district lines. So now Memphis, the blackest city in America, the blackest city among large cities in America.
The oldest Black district.
That's right, which was in one congressional district, is now divided up between will be divided up between 3 congressional districts. So out of this all black city, they're probably not going to end up with a black representative because they split the city up to 3 parts and then pushed each part into a predominantly white district. You know, and we could go on and on and on. That's what gerrymandering is. And we could go on and on and on describing all these horrendous conditions, but we're facing the black community is facing an existential crisis right now. Our children stand not to have the same opportunities that we had. Already, as a result of the Supreme Court decision on affirmative action, there is a measurable, statistically verifiable decline in blacks enrollment in colleges across the country.
Is he breaking up?
He is.
You starting to break up a little, Demo. And we can
at St. James AME Church. But more importantly, we're going to be talking about how do we fight back? Let me tell you, things were bad in the 60s, but in the 60s, black people rocked this country.
Right.
That's why we got the few changes we did get. We rocked. We literally overturned the status quo. And now, in the face of this attack coming from Trump, the Supreme Court, and these MAGA Republicans, the silence is deafening in our community. Only when you go to places where immediate crises occur, like a police brutality shooting, do you see black people in the streets. But for the most part, we're quiet. And the time for being quiet, y'all, is over. The time for going along, to get along, that is over. We are in a fight for our lives and our children's lives now. So we want everybody to come out. And then as Rountree said, Mayor Baraka is calling for a march on Trenton on Thursday, August 6th. We're going to get on. We're going to have buses leaving from City Hall. The bus is going to be free. POP already has chartered a bus to take people. We'll be leaving from City Hall at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning, August 6th, from City Hall, 920 Broad Street in Newark, New Jersey. We want everybody to come down and get on the bus because we're going down to continue to press. The New Jersey Voting Rights Act was just passed. The John R. Lewis Voter Empowerment Act is now a law to give us some protection from the shenanigans of the Trump administration. But that doesn't solve the national problem. That doesn't solve the fact that Trump has gone into court to try to seize the voting rolls of New Jersey. That doesn't change the fact that they want to drag us back to what we, euphemistically call Jim Crow. We need to call it something else because Jim Crow doesn't begin to describe the horror, the racial terror that our people lived through during that period of racial apartheid in America, during the post-Civil War into the 1960s. So we want everybody to come out for this march, get on the bus. Bus is going to be free. Get on the bus to Trenton, the bus to Justice. We're going to Trenton on Thursday morning, August 6th, 8 a.m., leaving from City Hall in Newark, 920 Broad Street, Newark, New Jersey.
But Larry, what's interesting is that, and I said this to you last time you were on, and this is why, and Zaid to tell you, this is why, I tell Mayor Baraka all the time, Black people need leadership, man, right? We don't have a leader, right? And it is almost as though we've all sort of accepted this whole Black Lives Matter kind of concept where everybody's a leader, right? As opposed to leadership. And so when you say the deafening, that's because we don't have a young Mayor Baraka out there. We don't have somebody who's constantly beating the drum every Sunday morning in church, right? We don't have that. And because we don't have that, all that presents a problem. You know, Larry, you're the only one, that's really beating the drum, trying to have these meetings around that. But you absolutely right. I mean, everything that is going on politically in this country and everything that these people are doing, they're doing it to us, right, from a political perspective. And they're taking all of these rights. They're doing it because they're trying to dial back all the voting rights. Everything that was accomplished in this country, they're trying to do it via that way. And you already know, Larry, with them having put out that information about what happened in New Jersey, they're going to use that as a catalyst, right? To say that is not only happening in New Jersey, but that is happening around the country. I mean, that's really the move, right? Yep. And we've got to get the young Barackas of the world to begin to broadcast that, to get in front of that. So we need to start in New Jersey with your meeting on the 19th. But man, we need to get busy over the next 3 months.
Yes, sir. We need to have.
So we can't wait till the next 3 months. Like we have this election coming up in November. We need to be busy right now. I mean, like today. Like we can't play with this thing. You fool around here talking about we're gonna flip the house and we get flipped right back into the situations that we have. Let us not be, let's not play with this. Like we always somehow, well, we ain't got no time. Like, and that's part of the problem. We depending on what's gonna happen in November. We better be working today because and the mayor is also beating the drum. The problem is that folks that beat the drum loud for us listen, you got a whole nother community out there trying to make a whole lot of noise to drown us out. Hence and point. When I got down to Delaney Hall, when I came back the second time with those 35 preachers or those 30 pastors, they tried to make a little noise, but you can't, when it comes to God and you really keep and you're consistent and you're persistent, just like Larry goes down to the federal business building every Monday, like whether it's a group or whether it is 5 or whether it's 100, he does not stop. Everybody does not have that spirit. Some people go for 2 weeks and then you might not see him for 2 months or 2 years. It requires consistency in whatever movement. And Larry and the mayor sort of cut out from some of the same cloth, some of the same teachings from Community for Unified Newark, Committee for Unified Newark. Some of the same teachings of who you are. Do you know who you are? Are you aware of where you come from? Because if you're not, ain't no way in heck you're going to figure out how to get where you're going. So it's important that not only he has these meetings, but to take those buses down. It goes back to what I was saying about the Honorable Minister Farrakhan and Martin Luther King. People were not concerned at all, LeVar. They were not concerned at all about, who was leading the charge. The mindset. We want change. We want to vote. What will it take? I think we're so spoiled and don't realize just how spoiled we are. And I'm not talking about spoiled in a good way. That we don't realize that what we should have, we don't. And it's not because of them. It's because of us.
Yep.
Because we can't come together. Because we can't get on one accord. Because we won't unify. It is not. My mother told a man that came inside her shop one day. And he said, I am so tired, because this was the way they taught, of the white man putting his foot on my neck. And my mother looked at him and said, baby, let me explain something to you. The white man don't have his foot on your neck. You got your own hands around your own neck. Really, come on. We can't keep blaming what they do.
Yeah. Because
we won't come together in numbers. When we get together in numbers, people get a little fearful. They're like, oh, Lord, we better give them something. That's how we got voting rights. Better give them something. That's how we got Martin Luther King through Reagan. We better give them something. They throwing kibbles and bits at us, but the truth of the matter is the numbers. My father used to always say, baby, it's in the numbers. You get the numbers, it can make a difference. Hey, Yasmin, how you doing? It can make a difference. And I'm gonna use every platform because I wasn't always the voice. I mean, I've always been a talker, can't you tell? But I've never been, I was never one because my consciousness, knowing that my father was very conscious, he worked with UCC and team, and there was what was his name? Was it Thompson, Eugene Thompson and Junius Williams? I mean, he worked with these folks that realized that they was blackity black, black and proud, you know. But my father knew how to go in the room and deal with all people. You know, Eugene Thompson was that guy too. But nowadays we feel like we got to be the one or the other. You know, that's what we feel, and there's a way to do both in order with God and what God has assigned us. If we could just get out of our own way, because by us being in our own way, we in Larry's way, we're in Raz Baraka's way, we're in the people's way, and we're not in the way where we're pushing and pulling them with us. We're in the way. Some are in the way, pushing people back. They just won't move. They won't do nothing. They won't say nothing. They'll come to the rallies. They'll come to the meetings, you know, and then go home and wait for the next meeting. Not wait for the next movement. Not wait for the next Million Man March. Not wait for the next March on Washington. Not wait. How about hell the March on Trenton, right? Because that's what's coming up.
Yeah.
We trying to get 1,000 people. When how many million are there in New Jersey? Oh, we know that. Listen, it was some clear folk that marched with Martin. And it wasn't his buddies that was with him in the beginning because they thought he had lost his ever-loving mind being the person they put out front. You know, so I become passionate about some of these things and need to use these platforms to say the things I'm unapologetically going to say for our people. I'm part of humanity. I'm not part of no one group. I'm part of humanity, and everything we should do should be for human beings, for human treatment to be done justly for all people. Listen, welfare wasn't created for us, Larry Ham.
Nope.
SNAP benefits wasn't created for us. Oh, we got some political individuals, of course, you know, took a little credit because they feel like they did something for us. They helped us feed our children. Well, you should help us feed our children because we've been feeding yours and nursing yours and dressing yours and, well, come on, teaching. Listen, we couldn't be taught, but we was teaching yours how to be children. I don't know. August 6th is going to be a good day. July 29th is going to be a good day. They're going to be great days. We're going to need you to call be in St. James, July 29th, and we're going to need you to call my office and let me know you want to get on the bus on August 6th. I will know the transportation. We will be on a meeting with faith leaders and organizers and activists from all, listen, humanity. That's the best way I can put it. Black, Latino, African, you name it. Whatever God created, we have someone representing on those organizations. And what's important is that, and listen, we haven't forgot about the Black agenda either. The mayor's getting ready to put something out real soon, Larry Ham, that we're working on to present to the people what we did in those 8 Black agenda, the information that we brought forward. And I'm going to take it to the council. We need to do something with making sure that some of this stuff is not just stuff we did and talked about and showed up for, but actually, if we want our municipalities and our people of color to prosper, then we have to make sure that we're inclusive with our information, because some people don't even understand some of what Larry's talking about. Our children, I'm talking about. If your parents don't understand the movement, how can they talk to their children about it? So we need elders do. Elders understand. You got a lot of elders out there with you. We got the popcorn kids, right? Where the rest of them? We need some more we need some more kids to be popping in the community with the popcorn kids. We need to take the popcorn kids into some of these schools I go into and let them talk. We need to do civics. And I've been talking about this because when I go back in September, I already go in to do motivational speaking and do programs with young women, but I'm getting ready to do some it's got to, you can't tell people died for you to vote and don't tell them why they should. That ain't these kids don't know nothing. Ain't nobody they know died. Right? So you telling them you don't know that you couldn't even pick up a book. Do you know you don't want to read? You don't want to do homework? But do you know hundreds of years ago, people got beat just for looking at a book and then mind picking it up?
Yep.
And here you have all of this,
Killed.
all of this, and you take it for granted. Microwave age, they don't want to work for nothing. They don't want, and I'm not going to say all, and I have to be very careful with the language. We can't say all, because we have Harvard students, we have Howard University students, we have Spelman students, we have Rutgers students, we have Essex County College students. So we have some young people that do want to better themselves. They do want greater for themselves. But then there's the crowd that might have got lost in the peer pressure, lost in the hood of the neighborhood, you know.
The hood.
And so, yeah, and I don't like using that word hood at all, I keep telling y'all. But yet, August 6th is just why Larry Ham is here. The mayor, I'm sure, is going to talk about it at some point. But we're working with all of these organizations to see, can we get a minimum of 1,000 people? How about that? And I can't see if we got 30 people on a call. 30 people on a call, right? Listen, if you just have 10 people on a call and they each invite 100 people, how would we leaders? And I say it all the time, if you're a leader and nobody's following you, you're just taking a walk. You know, you just there. So if we got 10 people on a call or 20 people on a call, the number starts increasing just for the 1,000. But we got to put it out there. Get ready for August 6th. I'm going to need you to get on the bus. Get ready for July 29th. I'm going to need you to show up at St. James. St. James is going to kick off all of August 6th is going to be about. And not everybody's jumping on the bandwagon for this voting rights thing that look like us. Assembly people, Senate people, they signing bills and doing all of these things, which is phenomenal. That's all great, because that's what we need. But we need those same people that are doing their own thing to come and be a part of what we're doing, because we're going to come and support what they're doing, because it's all for the same cause. We all want the same thing for the people. But once we do our little thing, then we walk on off and it'd be like, okay, you on your own. Right? So we got to come out that mindset to you. What you did was the same thing we fighting for. So why we can't all just, we still talking about reparations hundreds and thousands of years later, while they paying the people that ran up in the Lord Jesus, on January 6th was a whole get me paid situation at some point. Got paid, I should say. And we are still talking about 40 acres and a mule. Lord help me, Jesus. Go ahead, Larry.
Well, reparations is certainly on the agenda. We still need reparations. That's one of the bills we need the legislature to pass, is the reparations task force bill.
CCRB, all of these things that we present. We present these things, and watch this. While that doesn't get any attention but a little bit, soon as we was down in Trenton about the CCRB, 10 years ago, Larry?
Wasn't that long?
Down there, Andrew McKnight, all these people, we down there yelling and screaming and preaching and teaching and begging, and now we all the way up here, August 6, 2026, talking about voting rights. I mean, look at how things just shift from like we ain't got that done yet. This with the CCRB. Now they done put something else here. But we need to put it all in one pot and say, look, at least we should do 2 at a time. We want a little bit of this and some of that. We coming back. We want a little bit of this and some of that. We gotta address it and stop playing. But if we don't come together in numbers, because we got the people, we got Mayor Barack, we got you, we got the women, we got the legislators, we have all these people of color and some clear people that stand with us on these platforms. The issue is we can't come together collectively in numbers to make it move.
Right.
And we got to work on that. We got to ask God to help us get back to Lord, we ain't going back to 1963 because we want to go through what the hell we went through, which they trying to take us to. We don't want to go back to 1965. 1965 wasn't bad. You know, the Voting Rights Act got what Johnson had to do what he had to do. So we don't, but I'm reviewing those years to see how do we get the stuff we got. And we in a better situation mentally with more people in power that look like us. How do we get it with less people in power?
There's the contradiction, right?
Right?
We had fewer elected officials than we got more.
63,
we got more elected officials than we get.
Hear me. I'm just pointing something out to y'all. I'm just saying, Baba Zaid. All these beautiful bronze woolly hair, some with straight, you know, some clear. You know, we gonna just alleviate the clear because it's us. You know, if we don't care, if you don't care about yourself, how do you expect other folks to come running to care for you if they don't have to, or they can find a way out of it? So, welcome to All Politics Are Local, America's number one hip hop political. It's radio, it's Facebook, it's all of that. And thanks to Ed Riley, thanks to Baba Zaid, they talked about Frederica Bay, the women in support. Listen, I was talking about Minister Farrakhan. She came behind with her team, and they created the Women in Support of the Million Man March. Sold T-shirts. So I honor this woman. This woman loved my mother. I talk about my sister Amina Bay. I say that's my mother from another. I mean, I'm her mother. That's my mother, and I'm her sister from another mother. Because Sister Frederica Bay, always, and I can talk about my relationship, and I know that the woman that she is, the profound sacrifices that she made, she is truly, truly well deserved to have her name and a street dedicated in her honor. So I truly will be standing with my sister on that date. She's going to come on and talk about it. But the truth is, I don't miss a show talking, well, Minister Farrakhan, some kind of way, gets up in there because I want to continue. They say you keep on, repetition is the mother of learning.
Yep.
So if you keep on saying something, eventually somebody gonna catch it, learn from it, and I'm just going to continue to say, if Larry Ham is in front, what's the problem? Let's go. When George Floyd had that, when that took place, the George Floyd rally, we had thousands and thousands of people in Newark. It was a movement. Well, first of all, part of that was probably because folks couldn't have get out no way after doing COVID. You know?
COVID had something to do with it.
Yeah. They was like, oh, I'm so glad to be out. But they came out with a purpose because all of us at any given time could have been George Floyd.
That's right.
Don't think that this Nolan case is an exempt case from all of what's already going on. Don't think the guy that was shot in the back getting out of his car because, and Larry know every name from way back when up until yesterday of someone who was shot by a police officer or shot or murdered or, you know, and the truth be told, the song that Roberta Flack and Lauryn Hill, anybody remember the lyrics of the name of that song that they both did? Killing Me Softly.
His song.
Well, I'm getting ready to change the lyrics.
From Roberta Flack.
And I'm getting ready to change the lyrics and say they're killing us slowly.
Yeah. Yeah.
With his mess.
And the interesting thing is that they're not even using a weapon. They're using political power to do it.
How about we have lost sight of so much that when I see our young men that have, our young people that have no regard for life, when I see that, I sit back and say, wow, this is a different type of lynching. This lynching is a lynching where they don't have to bring a rope. They don't have to put us on the market. Whichever one of us is of value to them, there's another way they can use us and our talents. But those who are of no value, when I went to the slave castle in Ghana, hadn't been on a plane in over 30 years.
Mm.
When I went to that slave castle in Ghana and I walked and went out that door of no return, but it heard the story about what took place before you walked through that door. Either you was going to die in there or you were going to go out there and get on one of them ships. There was no in between about going back out the other way you came in at all. And where we are today, we're able to go back and go out that door we came in. But what's unfortunate for us as a people, as that with all this land, and Dr. Waldron preached at spoke at one of the mayor's breakfasts that I had her come. She's the first Black woman president of what was the New York Theological Seminary, Michael Waldron's wife. And she, in her speech, said, we got enough trees and grass and farms in New Jersey that nobody should ever be homeless or hungry. She said, we got enough trees. Did you hear this? Enough trees. Where do we get wood from? We got enough trees and farms that no one should ever. She said this about 10 years ago. And I knew what she was saying. But we're not even, we built the White House, but can't even build our own house. We built it under duress, of course, and under stress. But nevertheless, we had the talent to do it no matter what conditions we did it under. So my prayer is tonight, Brother Ed, Brother Baba, is that I think about my mom quite often and how she made it in a very difficult time. And I can never say I'm not a millionaire because she didn't leave it. If I'm not one, it's because my social equity that she left me with, there is no value on it. Because the knowledge she left me with, I need to make sure that I share it, that I let the young people know that you can be what you want to be, do what you want to do in order, as long as it's legitimate, and ethical, because that will go a lot further than trying to sidestep and out-slick, because that will never last. And we have to start speaking that way to our young people, that I made it, my mama made it, and no matter what your situation is in life, and this is for everybody, that your location does not determine your destination. And so the disciples is to show that as we go forward, Brother Ed, that my prayer is that I'm just pulling stuff from Kitty now, Larry, and Bernice. Bernice was very controversial. She brings some folks. She had Malcolm on the show.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
She was very controversial. And we need to start exposing and marketing and promoting people in a way. And this is why I think I even want to do this, not just on Facebook Live. I want to start, maybe I can even do this show on 78, and do the All Politics Are Local and film what we do for it to be shown on Channel 78. So a larger audience, because people, let me tell you something, folks watch 78 all day long. I've had people, when I first started going doing programs 17 years ago, they'd be like, I saw you on TV. I'd be like, where? Now I'm sure it's 78. But I think that I want to see somebody just said, yes, indeed. I want to see us not depend on social media to spread this valuable information that the mayor, that the people, the guests that you have come on here, the council people, the activists, the social platforms that many people are working on, not just faith-based. You have people from other organizations, United Community Corporation, you have Urban League, you have all of these people that are doing something and say they're making progress, and some of them are. But until you go to a street dedication or come to one of their events, do you know? They need to start talking about Social Security. What's going on with it? I want to bring some talk about SNAP, because there's some changes that we definitely know that's going on with that. I bring them to the faith-based meetings, Ed, because I need the clergy to know what's going on today.
Yeah.
And what the requirements are for those who are on SNAP. There are requirements now. Some
Wow.
I agree with, some but some of these requirements mean, can you just be accountable for who you are to sign up?
And Rountree, you need to speak to a little bit about that's one of the reasons why the mayor has opened up those local grocery stores.
Oh yeah, he did that as soon as this happened as a result of them cutting them, period. They were coming with stipulations, but the stipulations hadn't even been put in place yet when they were getting ready to cut everybody off. So when he brought all of these organizations together to take responsibility for these grocery outlets to be open, but Clinton Hill was already opening up grocery stores. Beth Israel, there are other places. UCC has been planting community refrigerators where you can go and get stuff out the refrigerator without paying for it.
Yep. He talked about that, Rountree, on his show on the Mayor's Forum when he said that he had actually, before New York had started doing it with Mandani, he said, of course, that's New York, but that was already in the works in Newark, right?
Oh, yeah.
But we had the election coming up.
Yes. Before the election.
Right.
The community refrigerators, he had the first community refrigerator before they even had the conversation about SNAP. Shani Baraka Center had a community refrigerator in the domestic buy, because you had mothers that were coming in that might have been having issues and couldn't, whatever the circumstances were. So Shani Baraka Center had a community refrigerator before the SNAP benefit crisis. But my point is that these platforms are not just for discussions, they're also for information.
Right.
So I don't want to we have some great discussions that are very informative for the public, but as we move forward, we've been on here about 8 years now. You can't keep doing the same thing expecting different results. So I'm going to talk to Minister Haqq and First Lady Balena Ali. We can ready to change the trajectory of where your show is going, because we want this 1 hour to be used fruitful and beneficial. Yes, they're learning a lot from Larry Ham. They're learning a lot from Baba Zaid. They're learning a lot from those who come on with great information, talking about what's going on in the community. But what's really good is when you know what's going on in the community and government and what your organizations have to offer.
Yep.
So that's, I'm just talking about what's to come. And thank you for this platform. I know we're going to try to be on site in August, where we will be going live from a location, because when you started, we were going live from Rutgers.
Yep.
So we're going to try to work on Larry Ham we're going to work on, I don't want to say location yet, we're working on live. After we confirm it, you'll know. And prayerfully, maybe that first show, we'll be able to get a live audience.
Yeah.
We'll bring about 20 people to sit out in the audience to see. Yep.
Listen, when we first did the mayor, I think the
Jonathan must be on vacation, because it's 7/19, and you got a sergeant at arms that comes on here. Is he on vacation? And Baba, you haven't said nothing. Baba, come on and say something.
No, I mean, you was on the roll. This is your time. Let me say this. Let me apologize. I need to put apologies in order, because we were supposed to have Felipe Luciano at 7, right? And I don't know what happened with him. I haven't been able to reach him. And I know he's also prepping for his own show that comes on WBAI on Saturdays on Friday night. So he may be having some other issues. So I just want to apologize, because Felipe would be here with us now in this moment.
No wonder you letting me go on. That I was like, so I did a job fair yesterday.
Tell us where you're at, Rountree. You didn't tell us where you're at, because I'm
at Good Neighbor Baptist Church. I'm supposed to be at inside with Vacation Bible School, but I didn't have to teach tonight, and tonight is our closing night. So the children are out here doing something. Let me go take y'all to the children. Good afternoon, everybody. Let's see what's going on here. I have Chrissy West, who is the daughter of Charles West Funeral Home. Chrissy West, come. I want to introduce you to some individuals.
Oh, let me turn it down.
Y'all, hello, guys. Hey, listen, what you doing there? This for you. it for me. This is Chrissy West. Tell them who you are, Chrissy.
Hello, my name is Christelle West. How's everyone? I can't see.
Hello.
Okay. Hello,
Hello.
Tell them who you are.
I'm Christelle West.
And what do you do?
Oh, we own a funeral home in Bayonne. We're the first and only African American owned funeral home in Bayonne in the history of Bayonne.
Wow.
We've been in Bayonne 15 years. In October, it'll be 15 years. And yeah, we're just trying to serve and be obedient to God. That's about it.
Give me 1 second.
Whatever God's calling us to do. This is home. This has always been home. I was a member of this church before I was even born. So yeah, we're just here doing God's work.
TV for a minute.
And this is Deacon Kathy West.
I'm here to support the kids. We're having fun.
This is
Wish you all can join us.
Oh, radio show.
No, it's a radio. It's all politics.
Join us.
So this is the owner with the daughter of West, the only first black funeral home in Bayonne in its history. Come on, Larry West. They made history. You hear me, Larry Ham? And they serve in excellence. I know we know Wiggum. I know we know Paris. But they members of Good Neighbor Baptist Church.
Amen.
So you know I'm going to talk about the West family.
Amen.
Thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you for listening to us. God bless.
Care.
All right.
All right, y'all ready?
What you say? I can't hear you, Larry.
I said you're live on the scene. You're like a
That's right.
roving reporter. You're
All
out there
location.
in the streets.
Wait a minute, with all
On
these
location.
children. Hold on, watch this.
Rountree do that all the time.
You see
She can't sit still.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to jump off.
me a
I'm gonna have to jump off, y'all.
All politics are local.
All right.
She said, good evening. That's one of our young men. That's it. He just graduated from East Side. He does some of our media ministry. And this young man is so awesome. Nate, we love you. And thank you for joining All Politics are Local.
Yep. Hey, Rountree, before Larry has to leave and you have to leave, I just wanted y'all to comment. As you know, tomorrow there's going to be a street naming for
Ryan and Charity Hager.
So just wanted y'all to, you and Larry, to
very proud of
that. It's being well deserved for this brother and sister.
It's
I'm
absolutely
excited.
well deserved.
I'm so excited for Ryan. Well, you know, Ryan just got one of the most, somebody in here, Ryan just got one of the most phenomenal jobs, assignments. He's moving to Alabama. And I just walked into the office. He's going to Alabama for a profound. Now, we know about the Institute of Social Justice and how he has been so instrumental. Newark is going to miss him. The passing of the baton event, I said, you're going to have to come back every year so that the children that are going off to school, we get to pass the baton to. So there's some things that Ryan and Charity, she taught in Newark for 30 years, Avon Avenue, they deserve. It is just going to be a blessing to have. You saw Ryan. I saw him today earlier too. We were at a street dedication for Marshall Cooper, which was another main fixture and made his mark here in the city of Newark. But yes, tomorrow is Ryan and Charity's Day. We wanted to do something for them, Council. Of course, it's in his ward. We all got together and voted for his presentation, his recommendation, and it is passed. And we will be naming the street tomorrow at 11 o'clock is the time on the corner of Hansberry and Parkview Terrace, right in front of their beautiful home. So we invite you to join us on that day. Once again, congratulations to Marshall Cooper's family, Ty Cooper's dad. The lieutenant governor was there. It was a lot. The mayor, everyone spoke. The whole municipal council came by to support Marshall Cooper's family. His wife, Lauren Cooper. We thank them and the children for sharing this young man that came here and was born here. But Sharp James saw something in him in 1987 and he's done a great job. We are so thankful for you, Ed, and your team for this platform. But you know what? We want to do greater, and we want God to create greater. We were good yesterday, and we were okay today, but tomorrow we want to be greater. So we're going to do some other things. Look out for job fairs from Councilwoman Rountree. Once a month, we had an amazing job fair yesterday. August 4th is Newark Night Out, National Night Out. August 4th, we will be having, of course, in Westside Park with the Newark Police Department, our annual Newark Night Out, National Newark Night Out. And then on South Orange Avenue, from Stuyvesant up to Smith, we'll be blocking off the street with the Newark Interfaith Alliance, Dr. Bridgeforth, right with the West Ward Clergy Alliance and Bishop McBean. We will have food, clothes, all types of services will be there, and that will all take place on August 4th, 2026, beginning at 4 p.m. So we ask you to join us for both of these events. But what's really, what I'm really looking for is for you to come get on the bus with us on August 6th. Please call my office at 973-733-3794. Thank you to all the elected officials that are still pressing their way to make sure that the way that God is trying to make for us, that they're doing their part for our people. God bless Newark.
Repeat the number.
973-733-3794. If you would like to get on the bus on August 6th, 2026, with us when we go down to Trenton for the rally for voting for voting rights. We're looking forward. Of course, Larry Ham talked about July 29th at St. James AME Church. We're going to have a QR code flyer out soon for you to say that you are attending and might want transportation. But I'm not waiting on the flyer. If you want to go, come. You're going to be there. I know you're going to be there, Cynthia. If you want to go, call. You can speak to Mr. LeVar Scott. Or you can, hi, Kimberly, love you too, sweetie. Or you can speak to Demetrius Key. Give them your name and say, I want to get on the bus because I don't want nobody messing with my voting rights. These crazy folk trying to get your social security numbers and all kinds of madness. And if Baba has, and on a certain day, a Nat Turner spirit. The only thing that keeps him from carrying out the assignment that Nat Turner was on is that we in different times.
Go ahead, Rountree. You got to put on the black jacket and the tam. Cut it out.
He don't care who around when he get, and I tell folks, like some people say, I curse, excuse me, Reverend Rountree. I said, everybody has an assignment. Some folks, and then if something happened and they'll say, I had one lady say, I know you don't curse no more, but if they say something to you, I'll curse for you. So, and you heard me say no more, right? Because I used to work at Credit Doctors on 16th Avenue and 20th Street. And hey, Shay, how are you? Listen. Jay says, let's take these boys back to the Bible. Yeah, we could take them back, but we can't leave them there, though. We got to tell them about the Bible in 2026 because it's all relative. There's nothing new under the sun. As I stated earlier, Pharaoh was told, let my people go.
Yep.
Some of these masters was told, let my people go. The truth of the matter is, a whole lot of folks had to die for some of our people to be let go 400 years ago.
Right.
And back during Pharaoh's time, his baby, his child, he had to bury his baby before it made any sense to him. How you gonna send all these plagues? What, you don't believe this stuff is real? And he ignored every one of them.
Yep.
So we got to stop ignoring the signs. Because then when we ignore the signs and things don't turn out the way they need to turn out for us, then we want to blame everybody but us. It's the mayor's fault. It's the governor's fault. And some things, if we don't get involved, then we really should keep our mouths shut, because there's a saying I used to hear street doctors say, and I don't know whether it came from our beautiful Mother Amina Baraka, I've heard her say it. But the truth is, no investigation, no right to speak.
Yep, that's right.
So we need to start being quiet about things we're really not sure of. And there's also a saying that I always tell people, Brother Ed, that there's a certain word uh, terminology called knowledge, and then there's a word called fact. And just because you know something don't mean it's a fact.
Yep.
You know, I can know you're married, but the fact is I don't know when you got married. I can know you told me you got married. Uh, so we can say we know some things, but is it a fact?
Yep.
So I'm very careful about saying I have the knowledge of some things and then stand on it as God, absolute truth. Because there's a difference between having the knowledge of something and it being the truth, right, Baba?
Mm-hmm.
That's
And it
right.
depends on who tells the story of whether there's any truth in it at all. So, Kimberly Akbar, thank you for joining us tonight, along with all of our guests that have come on to join myself, Brother Ed, Riley. Tell Sister Kim I said hello. Listen, I'm
Yep.
shouting out my Congresswoman, LaMonica R. McIver. There's something taking place for her also on the 28th. I think it's with Jasmine Crockett. I got to go back and look
Yeah.
at whatever
That's the
this is.
Yeah.
Yes, I need. Yep, yep,
Yep.
yep. So July 28th, I'm going to send you these announcements, Brother
Yeah.
Ed. But one thing I must say, Abdul Muhammad, how are you, brother? Oh, he got it. Okay, Zaid Muhammad has always used it. Well, I got it from Amina Baraka. I heard her say it and street doctors say it. I think they said it came from Thurgood Marshall. So there you go with the investigation. I didn't know where it came from. I was being truthful, but I know who I've heard say it.
Yep.
So now we at Thurgood Marshall, and now that's something that I can truly look up and say, I got the truth on that one. It was something that I have to give Thurgood Marshall credit for. I love each and every one of you. It is 7:32, so we got to do what we got to do, and that's move on from all politics and local. There was another guest, I think. You popped her head in, and I think you're enjoying the conversation. But we are so, so, so excited about July 29th, August 6th, men's
Yep.
meeting tonight, Newark night out, and there's some other events that I'll be sending to you, Brother Ed. Minister
Yep.
Abdul Haqq Muhammad in his absence, Lady Balena Ali in your absence. I have carried out the orders of carrying on with the disciples tonight, and I look forward to our next show. But I know that I will see you long before then because July 29th is only next week. See
Yeah.
you all then. Baba, peace,
I'll see
family, power to the people,
All
and
power to the
God
people.
bless. All
Yep.
power. All
Rountree.
power.
Rountree, you
Yes.
are the greatest. You
I
are
thank you,
the greatest.
sir.
You
Yeah,
know,
and welcome to your beautiful guest. Yes, Doctor. How are you with your beautiful, colorful self?
Royal
With a
Majesty.
royal queen mother. Royal. She getting ready to take you all
thank
the
you.
rest of the way in. God
Yep.
bless you. Thank you for joining us tonight. And everyone have a great evening. God bless once again the city of Newark, the county of Essex, the state of New Jersey, the United States of America, Miss America, and all of this world. Have a good evening.
All right. Love you.
Love you too. All politics.
Well, that was yeah. She ran that moment she had nonstop, nonstop, and she's still there. You hear me talk about you nonstop. It was, and we actually needed it because I want to apologize again that we weren't able to connect with Felipe Luciano. Felipe was absolutely supposed to be here to do part two of our memorial tribute to legendary organizer Denise Oliver, young Lord Panther, who just passed away literally the day before Asada's birthday on July 15th. We'll definitely try and recurate that conversation. I'm trying to catch my breath because this is a lot here that we're getting ready to deal with. A few weeks ago, the Supreme Court came down with the decision gutting what's called temporary protective status for folks who are in this country doing things that they intended to do lawfully and legally and all of those proper things that they're supposed to have in a way that this country is supposed to be embracing the folks who want to come here, right? But we are in a incredibly backwards, reactionary, racist, fascist period where a lot of us are being targeted. And on the immigrant front, not talked about enough is the fact that the Haitian community in particular has been violently targeted. So we need to, so I reached out to a lot of folks as a part of our ongoing conversation about what's happening right here in Newark, New Jersey at the Lemy Hall. Lemy Hall is a war zone right now. We've had uprisings from inside and hunger strikes and labor strikes from those folks on the inside. The only mortal casualty, however, that we lost at the Lemy Hall was a young man from Haiti, right? John Wilson Brutus. So there is a need in though we appreciate the coming forth of solidarity from places outside of our community, we always have the need to make sure when it comes to our struggle, our story, and our plight, that our voices are centered, right? So we are supremely grateful to have a towering voice in the Haitian community who just dropped this powerful statement.
Excuse me, Baba, I can't hear you.
Oh, really? Can you hear me now? Go. Oh, God.
Yeah,
I can't hear you.
Can you?
My mic is
say
on.
something.
I
Can you
can't
hear
hear
me?
you either, Mr. Riley.
Oh,
so
wow.
you're gonna have to go out and come back
She's
in.
not gonna hear that though.
When the last guest checked out, everything just stopped.
Oy. I'm gonna see if I can put this.
Can you send her a text? Tell her to go out and come
Yeah.
back.
We apologize for that. Cyberspace is not perfect space.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get somebody else to come on to join her because I was worried about that.
Well, it looks like someone is trying to come on. They're just not on camera yet, Zaid.
Okay. It'll either be Dr. Lemy or, oh my God, what's going on with this damn phone?
Yeah. Well, the
Keep
thing.
talking. Let me take care of this.
Okay. So I don't know if you can, you can't hear, but Zaid is gonna send you a text so you can go out, come back in. You know what I mean? So we'll try to do that.
She heard us. This happens every now and then.
Yeah. But I think that she was on when Rountree was on, everything was going fine for her. And
then something happened with the connect.
Now, yeah. So we'll try to get that corrected. But of course, we thank all of y'all for being a part of the show tonight. We appreciate all of your comments. As it relates to what's happening. But of course, you all know that the biggest thing that's coming up for us is for us to begin to organize in the city. And that is going to take place, as you know, starting on the 29th at St. James AME Church, which is our community church, on the 29th. So that's going to be really, really important for you all to put that on your calendar. And then, of course, we're going to, get ourselves organized for a much larger march down to Trenton on August 6th as we begin to challenge these voting rights.
Try to change your browser, see if that
helps in our community. So, we definitely want to make sure that that we're doing something about that as it relates to everything that's going on. So, want to make sure that you got those dates on your calendar. Starting first, of course, on the 29th. St. James AME Church in Newark, and then, of course, going down to Trenton on August 6th. So, those are issues that we definitely want to try to organize for and see if we could do that. Can you hear us? So, If she could say something, Zaid, you know.
Can you hear us now, Queen Mother?
Yes, I do.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Cyberspace is not perfect space. All due respect to those who try to say so that it is. Ain't nothing perfect other than the God of our ancestors, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
As we were trying, and Ed, thank you for the putting a pin in the. And by the way, August 6th is the anniversary of the signing into law of the Voting Rights Act in 1965. So that's why that date was chosen for this important rally that's going to take place in Trenton on that day. Now, having said that, Newark is also a current epicenter for the fight for what we call immigrant justice, the attacks on ICE, the private prison through GEO, and these other corporate monstrosities that are taking us back to another place of slavery and fascism, right? And Delaney Hall, as this place is known, has become indeed a battleground on so many dimensions of that fight. We've had an uprising where some actually escaped. Oh yeah, I ain't gonna let you forget that. We've had a hunger strike. We've had a labor strike. We've had women strike and protest, and that's coming from the inside. And from the outside, we've had a number of encounters and ongoing protests by a range of folks. But in all of this, this question, this moment, our people have always been the ultimate targets, and there has been a particular hostility on the immigrant front to target and lay out all this hate and division and racist propaganda at our brothers and sisters from IT, right? The only person to die in captivity at Delaney Hall was John Wilson Brutus, a young man from IT, right? So we appreciate the solidarity that we have gotten at Delaney Hall coming from all quarters, but in our fight for justice for ourselves, we need to be able to center our own voices in those fights. So with the advent of this horrible Supreme Court decision that came down, gutting TPS, attacking two particular communities in particular, the Haitian community and the Syrian community, our next guest penned a powerful, and I'm going to put it in the chat in a moment, a powerful editorial that speaks directly to what it is and what is our responsibility for this moment in a Pan-African way, but from the voice of a Haitian mother herself. I'm proud to bring into this space. And Queen Mother, this is your first time with us, is it not?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I'm thrilled to be here.
Her Royal Majesty Queen Mother Dowoti Desir. And we are expecting another guest or two to join her in this segment.
She's in the waiting room.
Is she really?
Yeah, she's been there for a minute.
I don't see her. I don't see it. You know, it needs to go out and come back in.
Can you still see me on camera?
You're fine.
Okay,
we don't see her. We don't see her in the background.
I'm sending her a message. We don't.
When she comes back in, just tell her to come right on camera, and we'll bring her right in.
Yeah.
We may have Nana Giamfi from the Black Alliance for Just Immigration too.
Okay.
Squeeze her in. She's a top Pan-Africanist lawyer on this front.
She said she was on, then got disconnected. I heard him. He saw me during the earlier broadcast.
Tell her to come on back in.
Come back.
We apologize. I'll take responsibility for that. We apologize, and I'm the most imperfect of everybody in this tech space, for sure. No question.
And she will send a text. I can't get back on. And
the link is the same. Let me. If I send you the link to your phone, Queen Mother, can you just text that to her? The link is not.
I actually sent it to her via WhatsApp. That's how we're communicating right now. I'm going to send her the link again. She had the email, and
yes,
I'm sending it once. I've just sent it to her.
Okay. And when she comes back on, we just bring her in.
Okay.
Right. We just bring her in. This radio is funny in that way, and cyberspace has got its own kind of funny. right? But what we're talking about is indeed not funny. I was saying when we had to reboot you, Queen Mother, that we have a battleground on the immigrant justice front here in Newark, and that is Delaney Hall. And we've had a range of good protests from a range of quarters at that space. But one of the things that I'm insisting in this particular conversation, as well as in this front, on this particular front, is that whenever we're the target, we should certainly be centering our voices and our resistance to being a target, right? And the only person that we lost in captivity at Delaney Hall was a young Haitian man, Sean Wilson Brutus, a young Haitian brother, right? And so I'm glad to have you with us. I was acknowledging your incredible piece that you put out in the aftermath of this horrible temporary protective status decision that explicitly targets our sisters and brothers from Haiti, right? In Syria, explicitly, right? To the tune of over 300,000 people. Imagine Newark being completely empty.
Exactly.
That's what we're talking about in real numbers in real time.
Exactly.
Not from Donald Trump's rhetoric, but from the Supreme Court of the United States. All right. So in that, I want so the urgency of now, the fierce urgency of now, is one Dr. King used to say is all what is the order of the day. So having said that, Linda, now let me try and introduce her and try to do her justice, because she not only gave us some powerful direction, but she represents important traditions of struggle and of regality that we need to claim and reclaim to repair ourselves in our quest for repair, that is our quest for reparations, and in a very Pan-African way. Yes, this decision came down with all of its evil intent, right? But what are we to do now to address that, to take care of ourselves? What are we to do in the diaspora, right? What are we to do, people of diaspora of different backgrounds of African descent here in the States? What are we to do in the African continent, right? Are we going to allow some of our neo-colonial figures to be paid off to re-imprison our people? Or are we going to have a serious Pan-African discussion on how we must take care of each other in these kind of spaces? Queen Mother Dowoti, that op-ed delineated some of all of what we must do, right? What we must do for ourselves to take our own destiny into our own hand. So I just really wanted to really just put a pin in that. Now, how do we come to her? We come to her from her own walk, incredible walk. We met her about 25 years ago as she was preparing to take the helm of the Shabazz Center, the former Audubon Ballroom, where Malcolm organized, rallied, and was ultimately slain on February 25th. And I was at a crossroads in my own spiritual direction, and her and the great Baba James Small, in their embrace and bearing of our traditional African spirituality, they got into my head in a way that, ultimately brought me to, in addition to my faith in Islam in a very Malcolm Muslim way, into Ifa, right? The spiritual tradition of our ancestors. And we're also being joined, and I'm glad to have this sister, and Queen Mother, you're going to appreciate her, right? Yanfi, right? Rough sister, warrior, lawyer on this front, Pan-African daughter from Ghana, the fountainhead of Pan-Africanism from Mr. Nkrumah's land, right? Powerful conversation. So I'm welcoming you both, and we hope Dr. Lemy can also join us. And of course, Madam Councilwoman Donna K. Williams, a regular on this front, is joining us. And Madam Donna K., when she was Councilwoman in Orange, served and continues to serve a very sizable Haitian community in her own Orange, New Jersey, one of our next door neighbors. So let's jump into this, right?
Okay. Baba, excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Lemy said my camera and mic are blocked.
Oy. I don't even know what to say about that.
It says, because we can hear you and see you.
No, not her. We have another guest that's trying to get in.
Oh, tell them to back out. Tell them to back out and go back in, because I had to do the same thing. My camera was blocked in the beginning as well.
She has to She has
And
to
it's,
literally unblock it herself. It's going to ask her that. Do you want to go on camera? And then you have to do both the audio and the camera.
and by the way, Donna, you'll appreciate that Dr. Lemy did her undergrad work at Seton Hall. She got a local tie. Yeah, so we're really looking forward to having her. Now, Madam DeWolt, Queen Mother, I want you to just in the few minutes that we have, we lost a few with these tech challenges. Lay out the parameters of your conversation, of that powerful conversation. I'm going to put it in the chat, right? Those things that you talked about that we must do. And I'll sum up some that just to move the question. First thing you said that I loved right away: don't panic, right? That's the warrior woman in you, right? You don't go into battle scared, right? You got to know what you're up against, and you got to know what to do in any given set of circumstances, right? And then you laid it out in a very deliberate way, some of the things that we do. So from the investment strategy that you suggested, the organizing strategy, Pan-Africanism should not be some empty philosophical, romantic notion of, yeah, we all Black and we gonna be all right. No, there's some specific things that we need to do to make everything all right. And we need to organize around them and have those hard, basic, groundbreaking conversations, right? So why don't you lay out those parameters? And they will include, of course, getting proper legal advice. And we bring Nana in to jump in on some of that.
Okay, thank you. First, let me say again, it's my great pleasure to be here. That it's important that we understand that we're all speaking from a Pan-Africanist point of view, but in addition to being a Pan-Africanist, I'm a transnationalist. And what does that mean? It means that I'm someone who believes that many of us, and I think African people are historically transnational people. We operate from multiple spaces. We've got to look at ourselves from wherever it is that we are geographically, but also from where we come from historically. And some of us have actual ties there. And so transnationalism is a way of allowing our Pan-African sensibilities to come through, to put into practice what we believe in politically and philosophically. Yes, there was a panic that has ensued. And in fact, today's the deadline. Today's the deadline for TPS, and there are some 350,000 Haitians who are whose lives have the potential to be unraveled here. And I started out my call by saying that, first of all, don't panic. Don't panic, because when you panic, that's when all the chaos ensues. That's when you become most vulnerable. That's when everybody's lives has the potential to be most greatly interrupted and destroyed. There are people who absolutely should have extended TPS status, and everything should be done to make sure that these individuals are able to stay here because they arrived here legally, and they've been making a tremendous economic and humanitarian and other kinds of contributions to this society. But there are also people who they're here for other reasons. They might have asylum or some kind of refugee status. And so if their TPS status ends, other mechanisms, whether they're in this country or other alternatives, can be set up for them so that they continue to be protected. And then there are people who could and should go back home. And my position is a little unpopular because I argue that we should go back home. We should not abandon Haiti. But there are some specific things that need to be put in place in order for that to happen. Because ultimately, whether Haitians stay here in the United States, seek asylum or refugee legal status elsewhere, or go back to Haiti, we've got to do that with a sense of empowerment and with dignity and with a real sense of agency. Because no matter what decision, no matter what path we take, we should never ever lose that power, the sense of liberation that came, the power that we acquired, that we tapped into to secure our liberation, and even though we're still fighting for our freedom in many ways, we can't lose sight of that, and so we should never be abandoned that way. Dr. Lemy, whom I hope is able to get on, contacted me. She was suggesting that a 60-minute work call be put in so that we can decide what it is that we should be doing, how we should be pursuing the TPS situation, this quandary that we found ourselves in. And so I hope she'll be able to get into this space and talk about it concretely, because I'm looking at things from a Pan-African point of view. And as the Queen Mother, I'm looking at things from the point of view of the citizenship pathways that a variety of African countries have put in place, as well as from the perspective of the so-called third country deportations that the Trump administration has very problematically put in place. Third country deportation arrangements have been made with countries like Rwanda, Eswatini, Ghana, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It so happens that at least one of those countries, specifically Ghana, has a legal pathway for African people to return, to repatriate to Ghana, to be on the African continent, as does Benin, as does Tanzania, Senegal, and a number of other countries. But those repatriation programs were set up as a means of further empowering all of us. It was set up as an act of reparatory justice, and it was set up to allow us to come home to Africa in our own terms, not to be forced to do something, which is what the third party deportation arrangements that the Trump administration has done, coerced countries like Ghana into doing, countries like Eswatini, formerly Swaziland in Southern Africa, into doing. And this doesn't necessarily provide any protection for our people. For example, in Eswatini, a lot of people have been detained once they arrived in the country. They're still imprisoned there. They haven't been released. They're not enjoying a life there. Places like Ghana, places like Benin, if Benin had been suggested, would be overwhelmed by the sudden appearance of 100 of 1,000 people there, because there are certain institutions, there are certain social networks that are not in place to accommodate the arrival of numbers of people as small as 500 to 1,000, but that can throw off a country. But certainly, if we're talking about tens of thousands, can create complete and utter chaos. My position is that an unplanned arrival in places puts pressure on housing, on rents, on food supply, on household costs, on policing, sanitation, relationships between citizens and newcomers. And that's the thing I'm most concerned about, because already with the natural return processes in place, the legal pathways, there are tensions that we've seen erupting. African nationals saying, who are these people from the diaspora? And how come they're getting attention, political attention that we don't have? How come they're having access to resources that we haven't had? How come? Why? And so we set a space of tension, of ugliness, of breaking down solidarity, of the unraveling of Pan-Africanism as a result of that. And while that might be the mission of certain powers that be, that can't be our mission, and we can't feed into that. And I also made a point of reminding people about South Africa as a warning. the kind of unmitigated and shocking, not just xenophobia, but Afrophobia that we have seen, Africans turning against Africans. We don't want that. And we sure don't want that happening to Haitians. And so my article was about calling attention to all these dangers to our community. And one of the things that I said, to speak to a point that you made earlier, is that, oh, I see Dr. Lemy, is that we should consider setting up some kind of diaspora investment fund. Why? Haiti sends, Haitians in the diaspora send almost $5 million back to the island. In the Caribbean, we are, I think, the second highest number of remittances made from our community. And globally, if I'm not mistaken, we were probably we're either number 6 or we're number 9. I would have to double check that. But that's a hell of a lot of money coming from only 11 million people globally, and on an island that is, first of all, we're not even half of the island. We're a third of it. And yet we are providing so many of the resources that help pay for food, clothing, school fees, et cetera, et cetera. And my position is that we need to consider setting up a fund so that, well, yes, families are going to be taken care of, but if we have a responsible, professionally governed investment vehicle in place, then we can consolidate our resources. If we were sending, say, $3.8 billion, that 1% of that is $38 million. 5% of that is $190 million. 10 is $380 million. So you see where I'm going with this. There is money that could be set aside that can, in fact, be used to build the infrastructure of the country. There are a variety of tools that could be put in place, that should be put in place, that will allow our country to thrive and to grow, which is why I feel strongly about the fact that we need to return home, not just abandon the country. Those who need protection, yes, stay. I'm not saying it's everybody has to go back home, no. But those who can should, and I encourage them. But the government itself has work to do, such as establishing a national registry of the expected returnees, making note of what their skills are, provide security for folks, provide custom relief, tools, professional equipment, household goods, create diaspora bonds, and independently manage reconstruction funds. These are just some of the things that I mentioned that could and should be done, so that we do not abandon our country, we do not lose our agency, and we don't overwhelm African countries who have created a pathway of return to us that is intended to empower each and every person who wishes to do so. Thank you.
Catch your breath. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
If Dr. Lemy could say something, because Brother Muhammad, if you're saying something, we cannot hear you.
Dr. Lemy, can
everybody jump in? Dr. Lemy, you could.
Yeah.
Anana,
because you wanted to set up that 60-minute working meeting, so it's a good segue.
I'm sorry that I missed the beginning of the conversation, so I'm going to try to jump in as much as possible. And I'm so happy to see my dear Nana, that I value so much, because she's definitely a true.
But let me help introduce you in this way. I mentioned to our
is Dr. Lemy frozen? Is Dr. Marie frozen?
She may have frozen. Oh, she's having a real time.
Nana, are you good? Nana, are you good? Yeah, you're good, Nana? Okay, I just wanted to make sure everybody was good. Okay.
Nana, jump in here, right? Jump in here. Yeah, you have your hands incredibly full on this front, right? Trying to take care of our folks, legally on this front, and at a time when the law doesn't really even mean much, right? what say you about how we should respond to that particular attack and the broader attack that is coming at our people by virtue of you know who in Washington?
You know who, the regime. So thank you so very much, first of all, for having me on. Honored to be here with you, with Queen Mother, Dr. Lemy, and others. First of all, you know, Nana Jumpy, I am the executive director of the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, which is a Black national organization that fights for the rights of both Black immigrants and African Americans. We do so through organizing, we do so through civic engagement, legal representation, yes, but also legal advocacy, policy advocacy, narrative work, cultural intervention, research and reports. And our goal, it really is to improve Black diasporic communities in this country, also outside, but our focus really is here inside this country. And we do that by both advancing racial justice and by advancing immigrant rights. And so, and I want to share that so people have a sense of where we're coming from when I'm talking about this termination of Haitian temporary protective status, which of course has implications for other statuses of Black migrants, not just Black migrants, but Black migrants from other countries that have also been terminated. Obviously, it's not the same numbers of people involved. Here, as Queen Mother pointed out, you're talking about 350,000 people with Haitian TPS. But we have, you know, TPS with Sudan, TPS with Ethiopia, TPS with Cameroon. So there are other people, Black people, that are being impacted by the decision that came down from the Supreme Court at the end of last month or at the beginning of this month, talking about Haitian TPS and terminating it. I think that there's a couple of things that, you know, I want to talk about. One is just on the legal brain, thinking, you know, wearing my legal hat and movement attorney hat, looking at the decision that was made and its implication, right? You had two different lawsuits that were filed by Haitian TPS holders, one in DC, one in New York. And the courts in both of those places said, yeah, we are going to stay. We're going to hold back the order of the regime that terminates this TPS. We're not going to allow it to go forward while we look into, was there a proper basis? Because there's supposed to be a procedure that's followed. Was that procedure followed? And also look into whether all of the racist things that the head of this empire said and his regime has said, whether those things rise to the level of being discriminatory and against the U.S. Constitution. And so the courts ruled in favor of the Haitian TPS holders. The regime appealed to the Federal Court of Appeals. And while it was still there, and this is important, the regime went over their head directly into their boys over at the Supreme Court. They said, okay, we can see this is not going our way. So then they took it to the Supreme Court to have the Supreme Court make the decision without even allowing the federal court to make the decision. And what does the Supreme Court decide? It decides, number one, that yes, the regime, the president has the right and the ability to terminate temporary protective status. The second thing that they decide is that courts cannot review that decision. So they try to cut off at the knees the ability that Haitian and other African nationals had been using to get, you know, to challenge whenever TPS, temporary protective status, was revoked, right? That the people had run to the court. And this Supreme Court said, stop running to the court. You can't do that no more. Unless you can prove that the Constitution has been violated, you can't do that. And all the stuff that he said about eating cats and dogs and Haitians have HIV and their country is an S-hole country and it's dirty and it's who and it's what, none of that was racist. So,
and Nana, and can I ask you, the House was already in process of doing, extending or doing something with TPS, right? There had been something that happened in April, correct?
Correct. And that runs, you know, alongside, but remember, because you have three branches, you have the executive that already cut the TPS off. The judicial was deciding, hey, can the executive do that? In the meantime, the great Representative Ayanna Pressley pushed this discharge petition to try to get a legislative fix that would extend TPS for Haitians for 3 years while they try to figure it out, right? But because the court piece did not, because the court ruled against the TPS holders, what the regime has done, because they're in charge of work permits, okay? That's not a legislative piece, that's their piece. They're in charge of the status part. They started moving forward and playing a game really with Haitian people, where they have Haitian people chasing deadlines, right? As opposed to really chasing a goal of some permanent protection. But I'll talk about that in a minute. So the deadline has been moved. It's been moved from July 10th. Then it was supposed to be July 24th. Now a federal court has intervened and now it's July 27th. It was really July 27th the whole time. But this was a way that the regime was toying with people basically and making it more torturous on top of the torture they were already engaging in. So now we're looking at the 27th, and what is expected to happen, what people have been chasing is, when do those work permits get pulled? When will they decide that the work permits are no longer valid, right? Therefore, by putting people in danger, of course, of getting fired from their jobs, which creates a huge level of insecurity for folks, particularly those people who have lived here for a long time, some who've lived here since the 2010 earthquake, right? So they've been here for 16 years. Imagine, think of 16 years of your life, right? 16 years is long enough to have kids. 16 years is long enough to be embedded in community. 16 years is long enough to have bills, bigger bills to pay. I say to people all the time, I know we love to talk about Haitians and other Black immigrants as hard workers, and we have 2-job and 3-job, but you know what? Enslaved Africans also worked hard.
That's right.
So there's nothing about talking about how hard we work that is going to get us what we want. Right. Freedom doesn't come with hard work, right? And so I'm just imploring my Haitian siblings and African siblings and other Caribbean siblings to stop saying that. Stop saying that. They don't care how much money you're making from them. Now, they will care if you withdraw that money. That's a different conversation. If you withhold your value, that's one thing. But just continually saying how much money we make for the United States doesn't do anything for us. Nothing, right? So, when we look at the picture, we have 350,000 people Haitians that are looking at having, again, their lives disrupted, because if, you can't pay bills in this country, your life is going to be disrupted. And it opens up the door for this empire, for these billionaires and, who own these hospitals and own these places where a lot of service work and, the type of work that a lot of our communities do. It opens up the door for them to say, okay, Brother Zaid, look, I know your work permit is out. And so it's going to be different, but you can still work here. You're just going to make half as much under the table. Right? So you're to have the potential of creating a whole other sort of
underclass.
Yeah, like an enslaved class of people, like the farm workers in California, right?
Yes,
and so, yes, we need not panic. Absolutely. We have to keep our heads on, and we have to move in a way that doesn't sell ourselves out in the name of survival and doesn't sell our island out in the name of survival. Because at the same time that this is happening, we've got to know that there is a push that is being made and an attempt at deals to be done to get Haitians that are in the diaspora, particularly I'm focusing now on the US, to be okay with the island being sold off if they can still stay here and work. And that's unacceptable. Like, we really have to sit down and figure out, first of all, how to fight for permanent protections. And Baji has some ideas about that. We started meeting on Wednesdays. If people are interested in, if Black folks are interested, particularly Haitian folks are interested in having that conversation and working on that campaign to have what the Liberians were able to get, Immigrant and Refugee Fairness Act, the only group of people in over 10 years or more that have ever been able to get a permanent pathway are Liberians. They led that fight. Many of us in our organization supported that fight. We should be able to do the same type of thing for our Haitian siblings. We're working on that as Baji, and the folks who want to work with it, hit up policy at baji.org, and let's get moving. And in the meantime, these efforts that people are making to get temporary protections, whether it be through a Senate discharge petition, the House discharge petition, those moves should be organizing tools that we're using to be able to get permanent protections that are better than what we consider at Baji to be a lousy deal in the Dream and Promise Act and an even lousier deal in the Secure Act, which excludes more of us than it includes. And I'll stop there.
Thank you much. Thank you much. And we're up against the clock. But I want to bring Dr. Lemy into this conversation. Dr. Lemy, who's got some ties to Seton Hall. This is all politics, all local, very local. Who's also,
yes, they are.
Also on the Permanent Forum of People of African Descent, right?
Well,
a functional UN-based body for our people. We have just completed the first decade of people of African descent as we move into the second decade of African descent. And all that we are now facing and all that Her Excellency has raised in her article, and there are some specific things that you, Madam Doctor, have called for your people that speak to some of the practical organizing places that we need to go. Why don't you share that with the few minutes that we have left? And welcome to All Politics.
Well, once again, it's my apology. Technology
and
is not as stable.
Dr. Lemy, real quick, I think I'm saying, Dr. Desir, you're saying you can't hear?
Exactly.
Are you saying you can't hear Dr. Lemy?
I hear Dr. Lemy. I couldn't hear Baba.
Okay, but we can hear, so we're gonna let Dr. Lemy go ahead because everybody else can hear, but everybody can hear. Okay. All right.
Okay. Yes, so I'm very happy for this opportunity. And now the question escaped me. Basically, what can the Permanent Forum do? One of the things that
no. What the Permanent Forum is, right, as a Pan-African entity, right? But I wanted you also to come back to what you actually propose for your community in the face of the TPS crisis.
Well, what the Permanent Forum is as an entity is basically it's a non-binding. It's part of the United Nations. We're supposed to be advocating and provide policies and research-based recommendation to address the needs of the global African diaspora. And that's what we have been doing for the past 5 years, going on 6 years now. But I think we need to be much more active and much more policy focused. And as part of the working group, one of the good thing of the Permanent Forum is that there's working group, and one of the working group that myself and one of my co-members, Miss Nana, here we're trying to do the immigration migration subcommittee that is looking at the global immigration migration pattern of people of African descent, that not just in the United States, but globally, because globally we are facing issues as it relates to our rights, our human rights to migrate within this global field, in a nutshell. And as that, because we are so Pan-African, 2 weeks ago, when the ruling came out that our people, like people of Haitian descent, had until July 24th to the ability to work legally in the United States. Some of Afro-descendant, American-based brothers and sisters were very hurt by that. And one of the things they proposed, why can't we get some of the countries in Africa not to accept all 350,000 at all, but if they are willing to take some people, just like Senegal did after the earthquake, and the students that they took have flourished. They are working professionals, and a lot of them have made Senegal their home base. So if we could do something like that, and since we were discussing the Ivory Coast, if the Ivory Coast would welcome a few people, and that would help, and then we could use that as a model to start requesting for assistance, not to stay away from Haiti. In fact, one of my concerns was, as everybody's fighting for TPS, or for the Biden program, I was never in favor of that, because to me, that was like a brain drain. So they were pulling out some of our most educated people, and people who have been educated to leave Haiti instead of to stay in Haiti. And that wasn't a good thing for me. And every time people are planning as it relates to TPS, and Nana has been somebody who has been part of community meeting, even though she may not always have the linguistic skill for that particular community, the right to return, the right to repatriate was never an option that we actively discussed and devised a plan for. Because it was always, oh, we're going to get to stay, they're going to renew it because they need us. But you always had to have a plan B. So what's happening now is like, we don't have a plan B. And I, from a personal perspective and as a psychologist, I don't want us to go back to the Guantanamo Bay eras anymore, because
Yes,
that was trauma.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why if we
Dr. Lemy, just a second. Add your go ahead.
Brother Zaid, I just want to ask if we can just put a pin on that for a minute. I know that we were having some difficulties, but we have the councilwoman on, so I don't know what her schedule is. So if we could put a pin in that for about 10 or 15 minutes, we'll come back and give them the extra time. But we do want to be respectful of the councilwoman's time and kind of pick up and talk to her if we can.
Dr. Lemy, Nana, and Queen Mother, are you good to stay till 9 o'clock? And if you can't, you got to go back in and everything, and you're welcome to stay with the councilwoman, because Essex County is a big community of Haitian people from Haiti. So I know she would love to talk to you as well. So if you could stay while she comes on, and then we'll come right back. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Absolutely.
They also have a detention center. They also have a detention center there now. That is how.
Well, we know. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We hear you. Okay, Councilwoman.
We just want to be the councilwoman's time. So, Zaid, you want to go ahead and just introduce this segment with the councilwoman?
Well, yes, it's loaded, and of course, her hands are quite full, as we expect them to be, given how she has lived amongst us from the time she was a child, if I could dare say. Known her that long. We have a big weekend. We started the show acknowledging the street naming for Ryan and Charity Haygood that's taking place tomorrow. But next Saturday, or next Friday, I apologize, is the street naming at Lincoln Park for none other than the great and Sister Frederica Bay, right? The leader of what became Women in Support of the Million Man March, an incredible expression of Black women coming together. Remember, just let me put a pin in that in this way too, Councilwoman Bay. Last week we had on the women of the Heritage Company, the women who have come together, different arms of entrepreneurial background, to create the space to be responsible for making Kauaʻita Towers happen, right? Mm-hmm. Before that, we had our Sisters in Wisdom, who were transforming spaces and who did basically the same thing, answering the call. Yes. The multi-dimensional call of Minister Farrakhan at the Million Man March. And it was an incredible expression of how those incredible Black women came together to do what they did. They wound up with not one, but several spaces. And that big old church that Audible is now in was the last space that was owned and managed by women in support of the Million Man March. We honored Amiri Baraka, the 40th anniversary of the Black Power Conference, right there in that building under their leadership and ownership of that space. So in this grand tradition of Black women providing leadership in this country, Mother Frederica Bay is being honored with a street renaming. And we wanted to bring in Madam Councilwoman, her daughter, to tell that story and why that's all important.
Oh, peace. Good evening. Thank you so much for allowing me. It's always a blessing and an honor to come on All Politics Are Local. So I just want to thank you all for giving me some time. As you can see, I'm always in the car when I talk to y'all. I don't know, because I'm always moving. I just realized I don't think I've ever done the show not in the car, on my way somewhere, parked, getting ready to run in somewhere. So I appreciate the time. Yeah, this is out of all of the things that I have been working on, all of the things that I've done, to be able to honor my mother in this way means the absolute world to me. I am so incredibly blessed. My mother, Frederica Bay, has done so much. She has poured so much into the city of Newark, into the county of Essex, into the state of New Jersey. I mean, from a community organizer, organizing our tenants association. And I've told these stories, even during the campaign, because she's definitely my motivation and inspiration. She's the reason why I sit here as a Central Ward Councilwoman for the city of Newark, organizing tenants associations and fighting against these slumlord managers and lobbying the state legislature to make sure that to get the law passed for smoke detectors in buildings and calling rent strikes and fighting for fair housing. My mother is someone who sacrificed a lot, because there's a lot, and we talk about this a lot about legacy. Councilwoman Rountree and I talk about it all the time, Councilman Crump, and even, our Mayor Ras Baraka. When you have a parent who is community driven, who is dedicated to public service, when you are that child in that household, you can either do one or two things. You can feel resentment and feel like, oh God, why isn't mommy home? Why are we not doing this? Why is she always going? Or you can grow into that space and know and understand that the sacrifices that are being made are not just about the time taken out of the home, but it is something that will benefit not only us as a family, but generations to come. And so we have children who grew up in the Wisdom Preschool Center at 53 Lincoln Park and at 67-69 Lincoln Park, and who, went to Adelaide L. Sanford Charter School that started at Lincoln Park. And then, as you said, Brother Zaid went over to the Wisdom Culture Center over on James Street, which is now the Audible building. We have these children, and now they have grown up. They've graduated from college. They're running businesses. They are contributing to society and doing so many things to help uplift and build the community. And that all started with my mom. And so to be able to put her name on that street that will outlive all of us, that people will go by there. And today we had a street renaming ceremony for Marshall Cooper, who has been such a contributor to the city of Newark in his role as the executive director of the Newark Workforce Investment Board and director of neighborhood services, and doing so much in the city. But when the mayor was talking and giving his remarks, and he talked about, generations of people in the city afterwards will look at that sign and ask, who is Marshall Cooper? And that's the thing, is that they will ask, who is Frederica Bay? Why is her name here? And so that gives us an opportunity to teach and pass on the knowledge and the stories, and to say what has been contributed, what she has done, how she has built, how her legacy has been embedded in this city, and it outlives all of us. So it's an honor to be able to do this for my mom, and I'm so incredibly grateful that I'm in this space and have the opportunity to do it for her.
Councilwoman, Dr. Lemy has gone, but Queen Mother is here, and I don't know if you heard Dr. Lemy mention about down, the federal prison. And is there anything that you want to let them know around any work that you're doing? And have you been down there, and what's going on? Any updates?
Are you talking about the Delaney Hall detention center?
Yes, I'm sorry, I loved it. She just mentioned about Delaney Hall. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So actually, it's just so interesting. And so I'm in my other hat, not only just as a council person, but in my other hat as the executive director of Newark Emergency Services for Families, and we're also part of the there's a coalition of different nonprofit organizations that have been working diligently with legislators to try to not only bring awareness to what's going on, but to help detainees. And because we get families coming to us all the time, so it's the Immigrant Resource Collaborative. And so we just have been meeting with members from, Congresswoman McGyver's office, Senator Booker's office, and other state legislators to really talk about how we can provide services, legal services for people, and also support for the families that are left behind, because you have people who are detained and family members who now have lost a person who was providing income, who are displaced and have nowhere to live and still need food and all of those different things. And so we have been working diligently with our legislators to try to help provide services to these families. And again, people automatically assume they think it's this, all of the migrants and the people who are detained there are come from Spanish speaking countries. No, I have many people who are on my roster right now who are from African countries. I heard you talk about the Haitian populations who are from Haiti and from other places. We have to remember that all of the detainees are not Spanish speaking people. They're not Latino. They are people from from all over. The diaspora is there. For people from all over. They do not discriminate. They don't care. They're snatching up people who are not even. That's a whole show. That's a whole show.
Well, I just wanted to let the people know that your feet are on the ground, and congratulations.
Oh, absolutely.
And just so you know, Dr. Lemy and Queen Mother, as we speak about Councilwoman's mom, I can tell you there was a long period of time where she stood at the door fighting for people in foreclosures. And I mean, she was in every town just making sure people don't lose their home. She was doing the work. And just to see, I remember I looked at your mom one day and I was like, you how long, Lemy? I thought you was like my age. I forget saying it. And she said, bless you, baby. But I was like, she was out here and, and we were able to bring the hearings to Orange because so many people were losing their homes and everything, and the work that she was doing. And oftentimes that she has done that people don't know, but when she is in that fight, she is in that fight. And I'm sure to say, whether she bring you home to her couch or she's standing up at City Hall from you, everything in between. So congratulations and thank you for acknowledging the hard work and labor that she has done.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, I mean, so much of the moratorium on foreclosures. It's been so much, and so I mean, the example that she has set for me. I have no other choice but to do the right thing, in this space, because it's a huge responsibility when people take their sacred vote and cast it for you. That's a huge thing, and people take it for granted a lot. I do not. I do not. And like I said, my job is to make sure that I don't embarrass my mama. I don't betray my people. Okay. And I do whatever I do is pleasing in the sight of God. If I do those three things, I'm okay.
Well, thank you for being here, and congratulations, and please give your moms a big hug from all of us at All Politics Local. And if people, as we're sitting here talking about the 27th being another deadline for TPS with the Haitian community, if there are persons in Newark that wants to reach out for local help to see, like, as you said, if they're removing somebody from the family that is the breadwinner, is there a number that they can reach out to you at?
Yes, if they want to call my council office, area code 973-733-5870. That's 973-733-5870. Or they can email me at centralward@ci.newark.nj.us. And they can get me.
You got to repeat that, Madam Councilwoman.
Okay, and the email address is Central Ward, altogether one word, at ci.newark.nj.us.
Okay. Right in the chat.
Okay. Thank you so much. And
Wait,
Friday.
Ed wants to say something. Ed, go ahead. You are
yes.
Go ahead, Ed.
No, I think the councilwoman was on point, getting ready to say it. We just want to make sure we tell people the date and the time.
Yes, that's what I was getting ready to do, Brother Ed. Yes. Next Friday, July 31st, at 10 a.m. at Lincoln Park at the intersection of Lincoln Park and Mayor Kenneth A. Gibson Boulevard.
That's
AKA Broad Street.
For those of y'all that don't know that is.
Yes, AKA Broad Street. Yes. But thank you so much for the time. I appreciate you.
Yep. And
Thank you.
We just want to say to the councilwoman that we love her and we're so proud of her, and ain't nothing she can do about it because she got a whole team of people behind her that she know about and don't know about. So we love you, councilwoman.
I love you too. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
And Queen Mother and Dr. Lemy, to jump right back in, and Nana was talking about TPS.
In regard, she had to jump.
Okay.
But we appreciate the few minutes we had with her.
Yeah,
and she's going in. Go ahead.
And she was talking.
She's probably jumping into another meeting because it's like everybody expected the TPS to terminate this evening, and there's so many Zoom meetings.
Yes.
Trying to strategize for the 27th.
So that's what I was going to ask you, and I think Queen Mother, you kind of said in preparation of how to. Can you hear me, Queen Mother?
Yes, I can hear you.
And, I mean, because and Dr. Lemy, you said you were not a big fan of TPS or persons, especially anybody really leaving, taking services and educated persons away from Haiti. You know, how do we go back? And I actually went back because I've been in travel a long time, and Haiti was one of the countries that everybody, in terms of tourism, they probably learned from Haiti because of, you know, early on how big tourism was. So when we see people flocking to other Caribbean countries, Haiti was one of the first ones that did it, as I would say. And there's so much there. And then you see, I always know that people come and then they go back home and they build. So there was always the intention probably to return home. So, and Queen Mother, you was talking about us preparing, like if people wanted to go and live, how far away are we from the infrastructure being in place? If people just, you know, they wanted to go live and not, you know, fight this TPS thing and you know, if they wanted, I mean, people come work and prepare to go back, but how far are we from in terms of infrastructure wise and being at a place where we can go if we wanted to live? Many people are looking at Ghana as you were saying early on, Queen Mother, to live, but what about, you know, going to live in Haiti?
That's a cross.
Well, you know, we have a wide variety of options, but we need to be realistic about what they are. First of all, from a historical point of view, African people, because nobody was an African American, nobody was a citizen. You know, after the Civil War, the recolonization movement was established to try to get Africans to either go to Haiti, to go Sierra Leone, go to Liberia, even Ethiopia. But that didn't work. And the African community
Because they were colonial
here
in character. Let's be clear about it.
debated fiercely. And some people were like, yeah, let's get the hell out of Dodge. We're gonna go to Haiti. It's a free land. Anybody who can get to Haiti, according to our constitution since 1805, if you can get there,
Long
you
live
were
Desir.
free. And it was the
That's
only
right.
place in the world that people of African descent were truly free, right? Men, women, children didn't matter. But there are also people who felt, Black folks who felt, hell no, my people built this place. Blood, sweat, and tears were shed, and we're going to stay here and live here and be here. And you all, whoever the regime was back then, are going to honor and respect us. And so in some ways, I think Dr. Lemy and our position is the same thing. You know, our people need to be honored and respected in Haiti. We shouldn't be buying into this narrative that we are ungovernable people. That this is, Haiti is a wild place, like the wild west. People being turned into zombies and whatever other crazy narratives that are put out there. These are falsehoods. So it's important that people understand that. And that if you're going to relocate to Haiti, if you're going to relocate to Ghana, if you're going to go to Senegal, wherever it is that you're going to go, one of the things that you have to do is, first of all, understand this is not for everybody. Don't have a romantic view about leaving. And while there are places like Haiti, even Colombia, the distance to get between, let's say, Newark and there is much shorter than it is between New York and Cotonou or New York and Accra. There are things that we need to do to prepare ourselves whenever we're going someplace else. And the countries also have requirements. Having ties in those countries, having cultural relationships, even in the city that you're in. There are a lot of Haitians in Essex County. So anybody from Newark who wants to repatriate to IT already has those kinds of community ties that can be established, for instance. But you got to learn the language as well. That's one of the first obstacles that people have anywhere. Even English, don't think the English that we speak here is the same English that is spoken in Ghana, is the same English that is spoken in South Africa or Nigeria. It isn't necessarily. So language barriers have to be transcended. Learning about the history of those places, of those peoples, of those nations is a critical thing as well. Don't go in blindsided. Understand what America's relationship was to Haiti. Understand what America's relationship was to Tanzania or to Ghana, for instance. So go in there knowing something about the place, the people, and what potential conflicts can be there. Similarly, I also feel it's important that the people on the other side be ready to receive folks. There's not that much of an issue between IT and North Americans, not only because there's this long historic relationship there, but American culture is in many ways, it's African American culture. It's prevalent, it's powerful, it's known. There's a lot of back and forth between IT in many ways and the US. There is much less so, say, between IT, between the United States and Benin. So there's work that has to be done before you go. The other thing is, don't think you're going to find work right away. Don't think that there's going to be jobs waiting for you. So go there with money in hand, because it might be a while before, not even so much you're going to find a job, but that you're going to be able to, in many ways, you have to be very entrepreneurial to create work for yourself, to sustain yourself for a while before you pack your bags up or you take your family. So one has to think long term and prepare. Because as I mentioned earlier, a lot of our societies, especially on the African continent, are not quite ready to receive people in the way that Americans especially are accustomed to.
And so with that being said, if
Can I add something to that?
Yes, ma'am.
Please,
Yes,
Dr.
Doctor.
I agree with everything she said, but I also have another perspective. As we, like, I guess most of us here are Pan-African people, and most of our children are self-identifying themselves as Afro-descendant. So that being said, Haiti was created as the Black Republic.
That's right.
And what is our responsibility and accountability to make sure that the dream of our ancestor becomes a reality? And they are constantly talking about Haiti's a failed state. So if Haiti fails, what does that say about the revolution? Because part of it also was that, America was the last country, well, the United States was the last country to actually acknowledge Haiti's independence. And I forgot which one of the legislators had mentioned, and it was more than one, that Haiti will perpetually remain on their knees. So what is our responsibility to make sure that that doesn't happen? That the revolution is a true success, that we as Black people
Globally
have made a success of Haiti. Because you mentioned the Saline, more and more children are talking about the Saline and Toussaint. And because of our World Cup, a lot of people have researched Vertier. So let's not just make them historical markers. Let's make them reality. And everybody more or less, Haiti's Wakanda. Why can't we as a people build Wakanda and make it happen?
And that's
it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, and that's one of the dimensions I wanted to appreciate about Her Excellency's article, is that while it was driven by the immediacy of this Supreme Court decision, the conversation, the focus, the intentionality is both immediate and long-term in its character.
Yeah.
We are going to build the Pan-African reality that we want and deserve. It's going to require that kind of vision, intentionality, and focus to make it happen.
Yeah. So that, because Mr. Al always mentioned, oftentimes Haitian is a euphemism for Blackness. So how do we turn the tide? Yes, I'm the first one to say this is the Haitian people's responsibility. We are accountable, and I don't want to hear that we don't have a government. We do have a government because they are getting paid. Let's hold them accountable. But how do we also hold the entire global Black community accountable to make sure that the revolution is a true success? Because geologically, Haiti has the resources. Haiti was the richest country on earth, paying France's debt. And we know that. What is our responsibility?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
and how do we go about it? The infrastructure that needs to be built. We have engineers, we have scientists, we have billionaires within our community. How do we mobilize to say, in spite of all you've done, here it is. This is the Black Republic. Because the revolution, the slaves came from all over, even with their linguistic differences, to create it.
That's right.
So Queen Mother and Dr. Lemy, I think Queen Mother, in the beginning, you spoke to a fund that needs to be created. Has that fund started, or is it something that is in the creation? Are there small things that I know that you said Nana is on a call right now, and you said that's in preparation for this this date of the July 27th. But is there? I don't know. Has there ever been a federal government like this that is lack of empathy, whereas this date comes and they, move people in a way that's very harmful, because people, like you said, are leaving where they have roots here and they're not prepared to go, nor is Haiti prepared to receive them. So what are some of the things that we can do as we reach Monday? You're muted, Queen Mother.
Sorry. First, let me say, I didn't hear a thing that Dr. Lemy said, which I regret. I didn't hear a thing of what Baba Zahid said.
Can I ask you real quick, because it's one-sided, can you go out and come right back in? And then I'll ask, because you can hear me, and I'll put that question to Dr. Lemy, and then if you go out and come back in, you'll probably can hear all of us then. Because I think it's a mic thing, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Dr. Lemy, I know Monday is here already practically, but is there anything that we can do?
We, the collective, I think what's happening is that a lot of people, since the planning not occur, and people was like, okay, God's going to prevail. He's not going to do this. You still have people believing like, this man is going to change his mind. He may very well do that. I don't know. But right now, what's happening, a lot of the people that never has a plan B, but now they're like, we need to have that plan B. That plan B may not be able to rescue the 350,000 people, but that plan B might be able to let us say never again. So, and I think that's what's happening. And you do have groups, like, different groups based on their skills who are trying to organize.
Yes.
And
yes,
to make sure there's funds, like they create a fund. There are those who are looking based on skill base, a whole kind of stuff. People are starting to taken out of the box, and you don't need 500 people. Maybe start with 2 or 3 that built it, and then other people will come in.
Build it, and they will come.
And they will come. So, yeah, you don't have to be Haitian. You just have to be Afro-descendant and ally of Afro-descendant people.
Yes, ma'am.
To make it happen. Because one of the things, and I ask people oftentimes, do you want to be able, are you willing to accept that under your watch, the Black Republic fell?
The answer should be an overwhelming no.
Nothing. It seems to me that Queen Mother, you can hear everybody now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So
we're winding, as we wind down, I want each of you to share with this audience the important takeaways that you want our communities to have about how to respond and how we should be helping each other, turning to each other, and not being hoodwinked into turning away from each other. And let me just share something about an incredible ancestor. That's the one that brought me to Queen Mother Dowoti many years ago. When Malcolm was slain, he had in his breast pocket a book. We used to call them address books. Loaded with names, addresses, countries, and skill sets, and entrepreneurial resources of those people that made up the Pan-African world that he was bringing our people to at that moment in time, with the same intentionality that we're talking about in this conversation, right? So the conversation was important then. The conversation is going to be important come July 27th and come after July 27th. We have to have it. So as I say that, just to put a Pan-African floor back under this conversation, what are the takeaways that you want each of us, our community, to have as we go away from this conversation? And this is an open drum and open mic, one you can always come back to if you ever feel the need to. You don't have to wait for me to call. right? Just call me, Baba Zai. We got to talk about this, and we'll make it happen.
Okay. Thank you for being so generous. There was a question that Sister Donna asked me earlier when I had to get off, and that was whether or not the fund has started. And I don't know if Dr. Lemy addressed that. But no, this was something I proposed be done, that there be a diasporic fund established. But a little bit of what I heard Dr. Lemy say at the beginning was something about it doesn't have to be 500 people. It could be 2 or 3 people. And so too, if she wasn't answering the question about the fund could start with 2 or 3 people. But the fact of the matter is we do have institutions. Unfortunately, that institution that where Baba Zaid and I met, where I was the founding executive director at the Malcolm X and Dr. Shaban Center, should be at the forefront of things like this. They should be. So there are institutional failures that exist in our communities that need to be redressed. Institutions that could have been and should have been, and still have the possibility to enable this kind of work. From a spiritual point of view, I almost feel like whether they be institutions or specific leaders in our community, we got to go back to our source. We got to do some divination. We got to talk to the Ifa. We have to jete cat. We have to, whatever it is that we have to do, our divination forms, so that we understand that certain people have been charged to do a certain body of work. Certain people are responsible for leading us. Certain people are responsible for organizing X, Y, and Z. Certain people are here to take care of us and to allow them to do so. Because there's no trust. There is no trust. We talk about Pan-Africanism, but what does Pan-Africanism mean at its core? It has to do with love.
Yes,
and it has to do with trust. And it has to do with understanding that we are, as a people, we have a common history. We have a common experience, and there are things about it that are divergent, that change, that are different, and we can talk about arroz con pollo as opposed to rice and beans and do our pasas. We can talk about that, but it doesn't change the fact that we're eating rice and beans, no matter what we call it. And but there's somebody who picked the beans, there's somebody who prepared the rice, there's somebody who serves it. And so everybody has a role to play. But if we don't trust each other, that's not going to happen. And our churches have always been historically responsible for organizing people, for allowing leadership to come through, for doing all kinds of things. But the Black church has to go beyond the Black church and expand itself into churches, plural, whether those churches are called mosque or masjid, whether those churches are called societe or iles, but Black religiosity and the power of that and its capacity for pulling people together and for creating a basis, a foundation of trust. And understanding that we need to move forward, we've got to find a way of doing that kind of interfaith and interinstitutional work, so that we have a basis for trust and accountability. For me, that's one of the first things that we have to do in order to move forward. What is it? Free your mind, and everything else will follow. You want to free the land, but with freeing the land means freeing your mind. And it is that the terrain that is here and here and here, I'm pointing at your gut, is what has to be addressed. It has to be anointed, if you will. It needs to be consecrated. It needs to be made clean and whole so that we can trust each other and move together in that power of love. And trust, otherwise we're not going to achieve anything, not in individuals and certainly not in our institutions.
Sada said something very similar to me when I asked her a similar question many years ago when I came up under her tutelage. Right on. Dr. Lemy, your takeaways that you want us to have.
Well, my takeaway that I would like to share with everybody, and I'm coming once again as somebody of Haitian descent and also with my educational experience and background, is that we Haitian, we are traumatized people. It doesn't mean that we don't have agency. So as such, there are certain times we do not take control of the stuff that we need to take control of. But when push comes to shove, we have to be able to say, I got you today. And maybe tomorrow you'll have me for us to do what needs to be done. And there are days where we may have to lean on other people because a lot of people are sitting there, look at Chore. Where is all Chore? I'm like, how would you know if Chore was among you? Because going to what Queen Mother just mentioned, because the trust is not there. Because in the beginning, I'm quite sure not everybody in Burkina Faso thought Chore was the man that he is. People did not acknowledge Toussaint or Dessalines or George Washington or Jesus for the person that they are. So the person that we are seeking for could be among us, but as she said, we have to trust. You have to open your eyes. You have to listen with the third ear and view with the third eye. And do not look for 5,000 people because you're not going to get it. Because one of those 5,000 people can sway you or can sway the entire group. Get a core group of people that believe in you, that you guys believe in each other, and get the ball rolling.
That's the basis for organization. Yes, ma'am.
All right, Dr. Lemy. I was listening to some the best of Joe Madison earlier, and that was his saying, you got to listen with your third eye and your third ear. So thank you for that. And to what you're saying, we might be the very people that we're looking for.
Yes.
So
the man in the mirror.
We are.
We are. Not we might be. And the bigger thing is that the thing about trust, and I remember listening to a talk show, and this thing that just constantly told, I guess, whisper in people's ears about to get us not to trust one another. And we do it, you know, whether we're traveling internationally or domestically. Don't do this, don't hang with these folks or whatever. But I think that the one thing as within the African diaspora is that we are people that love, and we love very hard. So I think to what you say, and Queen Mother and Dr. Lemy, is that we have everything that we need in our community. I don't know, Zaid, you know, the 27th, things are going to start happening real quick. And Zaid has already opened the door and said, don't wait for us to call you. Please call us if there's something that we need to know.
Yes.
One last.
Ed, is there anything you want to? I wanted to say, Ed, did you have any questions before they leave?
I think one of may I say one quick? I think one of the things that is missing now in our community. You mentioned Joe Madison was one of my guys that every day when I'm driving to my office, I would drive with him, and I miss him dearly.
Yes.
But sometime, like, you know, back again during my early years when we had Guantanamo, we had WBLS, we had WLIB within the New York area.
Yes.
So which was a place where you could call, because Sirius XM is very elitist in a way because it's satellite.
You can't call. That's right.
You can't call.
Conversation.
But now we have, like, you know, now this is a place, if need be, this is a place where the community can come and talk and express their feeling. As the Black psychologists, like we like to do, that's our bonus circle. I got you. Just a place to come and listen. Yes. Right? I see you.
I'm in the process of that training, by the way. I work in community-based violence intervention. We need to have some other conversations.
Yeah.
Because that space needs to be trauma-informed in a cross-cultural.
Trauma-informed care, understanding, and being respectful. I don't have to agree with you. Everybody do not have to have the same belief because we're in the process of nation building and people building. And as part of the reparation process, let's build that Wakanda. Let's make that Black Republic a reality.
Ed, did you want to say something, or are you just coming in to close up?
Well, no, I mean, I'm coming in to close out, yes. However, what Queen Mother just said is absolutely what I said earlier, and someone disagreed with me, but I mean, later that she said it when she said that certain people are entrusted to lead us. That is just so true. I mean, I tell Mayor Baraka all the time, the gift that he has. And when Minister Farrakhan told him almost maybe 15 years ago, I was in the room when the mayor told him, when the minister told him that. And I don't, I mean, obviously we got to pray, believe God, but there are certain people, and I totally agree with what she just said. They have been entrusted with that. And I just want to say, just for the record, one of the last places I had my last professional fight at, Zaid, was at the Audubon Ballroom.
No kidding. I never heard you say that.
Yeah.
Wow.
A little bit of everything came through that space.
Where I had my last fight at. Yeah.
Wow. Queen Mother, Dr. Lemy, Ed and I both have boxing backgrounds. Ed went further than I did. I must say, I'm proud of him. It went from the ring to the courtroom. He's a lawyer, right? And a very serious one on top of that, right? I'm very proud of that brother right there. Yeah.
All right.
So, I guess we have to. At some point, we got to end this. We have to end the show.
We at that point. We at that point. Donna, you want to ask them the important question?
Well, I did. Yeah, I do. Queen Mother and Dr. Lemy, this is a hip hop political show. So when you're doing the work that you do, is there a hip hop artist or any musician that you listen to help you get your mind prepared for what you're going to do in terms of the work that you do?
I think it depends on the day and on the mood. Because I like the old timers. And my boy was Tupac.
Okay, all right, Dr. Lemy.
That's my boy. Cub of the Black Panther Party. This year is the 60th anniversary.
And I'm sure, and I'm sure he would have said something. One of the things I think one of the joy that just happened, at least for me, and I saw a lot of people had it, watching the World Cup, is that I was just looking at all those gorgeous young Afro-descendant young men that was not apologetically Black. They loved their family, and they took social justice head on. And I was like,
the brother
let that disease
Congo
spread.
Dressed up as Patrice Lumumba.
Did you see that ad?
Oh, went all over the world.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
That was
And then the little brother that won the cup that didn't shake hands with Trump. He just walked on.
Kept walking, and then the 19-year-old praying right there, praising Allah right there on the field, and loving his grandmother, loving his Afro-descendant mom, and I was like, whoa, I love it. God, please let this disease spread all over.
And I guess our question for our next couple of shows, because the World Cup showed us something. Where would we be without the African diaspora? Where would we be?
Nowhere. It would be a boring game. But I wanted to speak quickly. I don't pay so much attention to, it's not so much the music that I would listen to in the hip hop community, but the actions of certain hip hop artists. So somebody like Vic Mensa is of particular interest to me. He's of a younger generation, and he's engaged. He stands behind his music, his actions in the community. His political engagement is an amazing thing. So let us all stand behind the things that move us most. And so hip hop is just as much a spiritual tool as anything else.
That's right.
So let us be moved by that force and bring about the change of liberation that hip hop is about. That process of telling our stories, of telling our narratives. Let us be the ones who are in charge of the nature of that narrative, not somebody else dictating what it should be, when it should be said, and articulated by whom. And let us to continue to build community, which is exactly what hip hop wanted us. Which is what hip hop does. It builds community.
Yes.
So,
And
I'll end by saying that.
Vic Mensa, by the way, is a big supporter of Mumia Abu Jamal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a show in internet space called Belly of the Beast Cuba. Vic Mensa, right, is an unapologetic champion of Cuban solidarity at a time when Cuba is under attack.
Right.
Right. So well said, Queen Mother. Right. And I appreciate both of your patience with the folly of technology. Right. I can't claim all of that. My folly shows in how I mismanage it, but the folly of technology is a trip and it's beyond our control at times. But I appreciate both of your time, and you're very proud of what both of you give to our people all over the African world in the way that you do. Look forward to when we can reconnect either in this space or in other spaces like this, trying to have those conversations to move our people forward. We really, really welcome you and honor to have you both.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Merci beaucoup.
Rough sisters, very proud.
Yeah.
Just meeting Dr. Lemy, right? But the Dowoti and I go back. We go back over 20 some odd years. I'm very proud of her. And she is this real queen. She is married into two royal families. She married into the Ruby D. Ozzie Davis family. She was the first wife of Guy Davis, right? The blues musician and actor who's the son of Ruby D. and Ozzie Davis. She recently married the Royal Majesty, the King of Benin, and that's how she became Queen Mother of Royal Majesty Dowoti Desir. And she's a very important bridge. Benin is an important African DNA source for what became Haiti. There's a lot of Benin in Haiti, right? There's a lot of Congo in Haiti, right? And so she's doing some real bridge building on that diaspora / continental conversation that needs to happen. And we could have had an hour with each of them on their own, and it would have been really expansive. So I just wanted to appreciate what we had with those two. I want to apologize also again for what we didn't have in Felipe. Whenever we can get him, I want to make that happen. He has a show on WBAI every Saturday at 2 p.m. called Latin Roots, and he does his programming on Friday nights. But we did agree that he could be able to get on at 7 tonight, so we don't know what happened. We hope he is okay. Want to acknowledge Councilwoman Amina Bay for all that she does, and the fact that we're getting ready to have this dedication ceremony to her mother, and of course, and our own Reverend Councilwoman Louise Rountree rolled nonstop for an hour and a half.
She did.
Nonstop. Carried that time.
She did.
And didn't miss a beat. Didn't miss a beat like she always does. So it was a loaded show, and we appreciate everybody riding.
And you said Nana too, right?
Nana Gianfi, Baji, all that in there. Put all of that information in the chat. Queen Mother's article, Baji's Connects, Black Alliance for Just Immigration, right? Rough Sister. Nana and I don't go back as far as Queen Mother and I do, but there was a powerful, and I'll wrap with this. There was a powerful international tribunal that the National Conference of Black Lawyers did several years ago in the aftermath of George Floyd on police violence in the United States on Afro-descendants. And Nana was one of the drivers of that, the development of the content of that tribunal. Sister is no joke. I'm very proud of her. And she puts it in. And she ain't just in the courtroom. She's a warrior lawyer that also puts it in the street too. Very proud of Nana.
And as Ed, before you close out, I just want to give a shout out on Dr. Carr this morning gave a beautiful tribute to Maybe Think About You, Zaya, to Denise Oliver, gave a beautiful tribute to her today. And then also, Ed, you should be happy. LeBron is going to Philly.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Yeah. I mean, I may have to get my season passes back down there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because I lived down there when Julius Erving was the man.
Dr. J, the fish that say Pittsburgh.
Dr. J used to be the highlight of basketball camp that Bob Sumner and I used to go to when we were kids.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Can't make this up.
Yeah, you can't make it up, man. It's, you know.
And by the way, I understand Bob is out of the hospital.
Oh, praise
Bob
God.
had to have a heart transplant.
Oh,
hip hop comedy, a legend in the entertainment field, and an old schoolmate. We go back over 60 years. Me and that brother. I'm very proud of him, and he's a miracle right in front of our eyes, and look forward to him recovering his health.
I bet you Dr. J is going to be at that first game.
I don't know, man, but you know, I may have to get some tickets for that first game. I don't know what made him choose to go to Philadelphia, but we're glad he did. You know, because you know they got a good team, but I think he's definitely going to add.
It's a young team.
Yes,
he's got some young black talent that reminds him of where he was when he was that young black talent, and he has the maturity to take them to that next step.
Right, and that's what people sort of discovered in this playoff was that how good they were this year, you know. But they needed a couple of pieces, and I think that getting and it's funny because he probably looked at the playoffs himself and said, "I think I could add to them, and I think we can win the championship."
And we know he's a very thinking person, so this will be interesting.
Came in straight out of high school. Managed his money better than a whole lot of athletes. Very proud of that little brother in terms of how he managed his money.
Yeah,
very generous.
So it should be good going forward, man. And looking forward to it. So before we close out, obviously, Zaid, you did all the niceties, and you know, thanking all of our guests. We appreciate that. We just want to let people know, and if you want to say something to this, Zaid, you please feel free to do so. I mean, obviously, I think that tomorrow's street naming for our brother Ryan and in charity, Hey Good, I think it's important. You know, it's funny, man, because I had never gone to any of their baton passings, but he invited me and John 2 weeks ago.
I've been to her school, but not to the baton pass.
Yeah, but we were invited to the baton pass, and I've got to say, I've been thinking about it. And what I thought, you know, and what the Holy Spirit brought to my remembrance, it felt more like a camp meeting. It felt more spiritual than anything. Being at that thing with them, right? It felt like some sort of church calling. Right? It felt like what they were doing was divine. It felt like because they were loving on them kids, man.
Yeah. You know,
they were sowing into their lives, and it was the other kids coming.
The energy is incredible.
Yeah,
they're giving them.
And it was the other people passing the batons, right? Like the family members were coming. They were giving the batons, and then you saw the other kids who had gone through that, who are now doctors, who are PhDs, who are lawyers, and you look at that and you say, wow, you know. These people, and I'm talking.
Why is that the exception and not the norm in our community?
Right. You know, I'm talking about these two people who were willing, you know, who didn't think it was robbery to do the work that they did, and it was interesting, you know, because what you heard Rountree say tonight was Rountree said they're going to need to come back every year just to do their program because it's such an important program. In that community,
created a tradition.
Important program in this city, right? I think that it was important. I mean, I was moved by it. I was impressed by it, and it's definitely the kind of work that I think that you need spiritual guidance in order to be able to do it. Because remember, a lot of our children are broken, right? A lot of our children don't even know they can go that far. But when you take two professional Black people who are willing to take their time, take their resources, and sow that into these young people's lives that they don't even know, I mean, it's an amazing thing, man. So,
And is that an Institute of Social Justice thing, or that was Ryan?
No, that's
her. Okay.
Yeah, that's her school.
Her school. Okay.
Back to Ryan. Ryan is going into a war zone.
Yo, without
Southern Poverty Leadership Law Center is under direct attack.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
By the federal government. Yeah,
and he is that's what he's walking into.
Yeah,
he
they
doesn't have the trappings and the support of what we built around him here in Jersey. He is literally taking on a fight at a very critical crossroads time of that fight. Right. Yeah. So he's going to need support from around the country, like we know from up here.
Yeah.
Right. And at the same time, Hanal Patel, the young sister who's taking over, is going to need her.
Oh, Hanal's taking over. Wow. Okay.
At the Institute, because the Institute is still going to do its work.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're coming off of a victory that was getting that damn bill signed.
Yeah.
Right. We got more to get signed. Got more to do to stand up to these knuckleheads in Washington.
Yeah, Ryan's been on. I haven't had the opportunity to be, but I know they've been very, very on purpose.
I'm trying to get them back on for next week. Ryan and Hanal together.
Okay, beautiful. Okay.
Great. So that's going to take place tomorrow, Saturday, July 25th. It's going to take place from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. The location is going to be Purview Terrace and Hansberry Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be tomorrow, July 25th, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Purview Terrace and Hansberry Avenue, right? And that is, as Donna just said, it's in the South Ward. So if you guys can make it out, I would encourage you to come out and support, both Ryan and his wife Charity. Just an incredible husband and wife. And I would dare to say, if you came, you will not leave the same way you came. So if you come, just be prepared to leave filled, because that's how I left when I left that baton passing. I was just filled, almost what Larry was saying when he was saying how, he came close to getting the Holy Ghost when he was at that church where there was just people
in Alabama. Yeah.
You feel that kind of love in their environment, and all the people who come with that. So hopefully you all come out tomorrow at 11 a.m. to 12 at the Purview Terrace and Hansberry Avenue. With that having been said, I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. It was an incredible show, Zaid, and we had some great guests, and obviously want to say to our co-host Jonathan Austin, who's doing an incredible job on the road with his students in debate. I heard that he was at Harvard for a week teaching debate. But that goes to speak to who he is, and that he would get those kind of invitations. Of course, what I'm pushing for next year, Zaid, is that he's going to teach some young brothers in the hood how to debate. That don't know.
Malcolm started his debating in prison.
Yeah.
And that same team still has a national reputation.
That's and while we want
that same prison.
And while we want Jonathan, I would say this to you, Jonathan, and because you used to work with all the students, his students are so thorough that if we can't get him, his students could teach, because he has such so many students. But yeah, he is so in demand. But I would love to see like a part of a debate summer camp or something. That would be awesome. Yes.
Listen, I already told him. I said, John, you have got to do this in Newark, man. Like you got to take. But y'all don't understand, and maybe you do, Donna and Zaid. John is from the Westward, man.
That's right. That's right.
He's from the Westward. He's right there.
I've been in that house he grew up in.
Western Avenue, yeah. Listen, I tried to get him to a vacation, to try to do it for Vacation Bible School. Listen, we're gonna have to push this. Okay,
So next year, Zaid and Donna, we're gonna get the Hood brothers, all the Hood.
Yes.
What I wanted to do, he got married on me and threw my plans off. With Malcolm Centennial, I wanted to have a New York school debate, Science High School at the Shabazz Center, right?
Yeah.
And and I needed him to really, help me pull that together because he had all the connects, but he was too busy trying to get married to Ashley. So I can't fight with that, brother. You go ahead and do that. You got to do that.
Well, listen, we can do it. We want to get them to debate in Newark, but we can try to get that debate team to debate some people in New York. You know?
Yeah. Northers, yes. All right. We are all hands on deck. Okay.
Two announcements as we go out. Sunday, Labor Eyes on Ice, the labor community is doing a rally at 11 o'clock at Delaney Hall. And tomorrow is the anniversary of the launch of the Cuban Revolution. And there's a big rally and performance at the Church of Good Shepherd on Roosevelt Island in Queens at 7:30 in solidarity with the Cuban Revolution. Just want to put that out there. All that stuff is on my Facebook page.
Yep. And one of the things I want to say, Zaid, I know I forget to tell you this, but I want to tell you that you are one hell of a producer, man. You've been producing some hell of a shows for All Politics Local, man. So I just want to say that you are an incredible producer, man.
Well, you see who's over my shoulder, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm correct.
Yeah. Go. Hey, listen, Zaid, we're gonna have to create some classes so you can teach people how to be a producer, brother. You know what I mean? Because you produce some hell of a shows, man. Oh, man, so and what's interesting is, Zaid, all of these things are in a can, brother. They're in the cloud. You got them. Yeah. We can go back and do some things with them.
Yes, sir.
I just want to congratulate you because I be thinking about it when I see when I see our lineup. I say, boy, Zaid is doing this thing. You know what I mean? Like just incredible, man. So just real strong, real black, man. Thank you.
We got to get Felipe back too. I'm dying to get Felipe up in here.
We got to get him back. Yeah. But with having said all of that, thank you, Donna. Two great co-hosts. Thank you for tonight. And as my brother Zaid said, we'll catch him where's
in the whirlwind.
We'll catch y'all in the whirlwind.